What's going on YouTube? Welcome to my stream where I am going to be playing the openings of the World Championship finalist of 2021 Grandmaster Ian Nepomniachtchi. It's going to be a really fun stream. So let's now go live on Facebook and play some blitz chess on chess.com. How cool is that? So I should probably also make sure, yep, that's all well and good. I think you guys are all here and ready. So yeah, welcome to the stream everybody. So basically, I had set the stream schedule for start like 3 hours ago. What happened though is I had like 3 to 4 hours sleep, where I went to bed at 11 or something, and I woke up at 3. And no, I was just playing chess.com for about 5 hours waiting, but I was so tired I just couldn't stay awake any longer and just had to get some sleep. Good news is I'm here now and I'm ready to play some chess, so let's get into it. And so I did play like 5 hours game beforehand. It actually means that I am somewhat... Okay, I have to reconnect to this apparently. Okay. So once I reconnect, we'll play some games. And I'm actually somewhat closer to the top 3. I think I have like 1,530 trophies or something. And I think third place something like 1,800 to 1,900. So my hope is that by the end of this stream, I'll actually be in the top 3 on that leaderboard and get back in the hunt for the Champions League. What's not going to happen if they keep aborting, but hopefully it'll be more like the next guy. Just curious if that came up all of a sudden. But anyway, it is what it is. So, okay, let's continue and play. Why is it taking so long to get a game? Is my internet just really bad at this time? What's the story here? Yeah, computer's just really slow. Like, I might have to, move all my videos I record to my hard drive or something, because normally it doesn't take this long for me to get a game, and things aren't just freezing on my end. I'm waiting though, it is a good time to remind you guys that, you can actually now support the stream with stars. You might have seen the pinned comment already, where you can see, well, you can actually, when you send stars, you also, in doing so, get to see your comment come up. I don't know why I played G6. Yeah, E5 is just a bit better for white. I should have just played like Knight C6 to stop E5. It's probably still playable for me anyway, but it is true I was very careless because now my king is stuck in the center. But he's spending a lot of time moving the knight. There was no real reason for him to play knight d3. There was no real reason to take either, I think. Okay, he wants to go for this sort of thing, but... Okay, if I just play like rook b8, I don't really know what he achieved from all this. Probably his idea is he just wants to trade off all the pieces and get some very safe draw, but that's not really the best way to go about it, I think. So okay, what I might do is I can actually keep my bishop pair now, because I'm not running a knight c7 fork any longer. What I have to be a little bit careful of is that maybe you can try to jump the knights in like this, but he decides not to do that. Because if he goes knight c7 now, I just move the king and he just doesn't really have a safe spot for the knight. So again, yeah, he's going for this sort of thing, but now I can just take the pawn. Actually, I think I could have done on the previous move as well, but okay, this is fine. I can do it like this. And even though I have this nice bishop pair, I might actually decide to swap that knight, because I think it's the one thing that could annoy me. Because if I had gone bishop b7 earlier, he'd have knight a6 and he'd get the pawn back. But because I traded it off, he doesn't have that anymore. Do make sure also, yeah, to, have your say as well. I do like to read out your comments, you guys, and respond. So keep that in mind as well, that I am here to chat to you guys. Alright, so knight b4 is not the best. I just end up winning a pawn. Now, in some previous streams, like I was sort of talking so much about other different topics, and, well, I might still do that, but I think I'm going to save it for when I am just in a completely dead one position. Because I was like doing it in positions where it was like a quite complex position. I would just like have these really stupid losses to players like 600 to 1,000 points lower rated than me due to just not really focusing. So I've kind of learned from that. I'm going to focus a bit more. Okay, it's kind of ironic because actually I didn't see that he could take this pawn, but luckily for me his knight is actually completely trapped. So that does actually work out for me in the end. This guy's playing nearly as fast as me, which is kind of intriguing. But he's not playing quite as well. I'm just going to put him in as Rook 1, just run him out of moves. And yeah, then it's going to be over pretty quickly from there. So, okay, now we'll probably have to let his king out somehow. Or let his knight out, unless I go b3 or something. But yeah, he's giving up the knight and there's nothing for him to play for here. So I expect... Oh, he could go h5. He could try to do an anti-pre move. Not that it would have really mattered, but you want to be absolutely sure of getting the win. But yeah, guy is not resigning, which is kind of weird. So yeah, I mean, for this, like, also, you might see I've set a really ambitious stars goal, because one thing I don't notice is that whatever goal you set, often, like, the more ambitious the goal is, like, the more what you really want. So I think, like, by saying a more ambitious one, it could kind of maybe encourage more people to support the stream and maybe to support a bit more. Stars, like, okay, here's one star, stars, like, go off and, just do whatever now. But, 5,000, I kind of, makes you a little bit excited, right? So, okay, actually, I've forgotten to play Nepomnishi's opening, because he normally is a 1 E4 player, but I'll remember it for the next white game. So I end up getting some King's Indian. I'll play the Bishop G5 line. This is a line I've been wanting to play for a bit of time, to go Queen D2 and play the Shark Attack, as I covered in one of my recent YouTube vids. And this is the idea, just Bishop H6, H4, H5, attack the king, and it's actually a little bit of a tricky and annoying plan for them to deal with here. So anyway, yeah, for this time, I think if you are in the US, probably the time is like, I don't know, 11 p.m. to, or something. I mean, it depends where in the US you are, but like around, I think, that ballpark, like late evening. So anyway, knight takes e5. Basically, he just blundered a pawn here. Kind of weird that he did this. I mean, he's just, okay, I guess he is 600. Maybe this is sort of the explanation. But e3 is a little bit chaos, because he could have gone rook b8 and met rook b1 with bishop f5. Whereas now I can sort of just keep trading pieces and just be very, very stable here. Okay, I mean, well, I'm trying to think what other things are. Like, for today, one thing I'm kind of excited about is that, there's the next episode of Survivor today. I think that's going to be really fun to watch. And I know that, like, my family think it's like some, dumb show, but I just don't appreciate the subtlety of it. I mean, I guess when you don't know to socialize, like, when you don't appreciate, like, the social element, when you like this curiosity for how people sort of interact in, like, a different sort of social things in games, well, then it's not going to be, you're not going to be drawn to it. Since you asked, interesting ending of the last game, would it have been influence fast for you to do king-queen checkmate as it was promote second pawn to queen? Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, probably it would be just as fast, actually. I mean, that probably means just about everything works. But yeah, like, if you had no time on the clock, then probably playing, like, to get the second queen is faster, because you can sort of see where the king goes and kind of pre-move some square you won't get stalemated as such. Where they won't get stalemated, I should say. And I said it's about 1 a.m. here on the East Coast in the United States. Okay, sure. Because, yeah, I think I know the different time difference, something between, like, I think it's, like, around 13 hours, yeah, on the East Coast, and I don't remember offhand for the West Coast. Okay, I've played this guy before, this 2548 rated player. Actually, it's funny, when I was playing, he was accusing me of being a cheater, because I was just playing so quickly, and he couldn't handle it. That was, I found, pretty hilarious. That I think it's one of the highest compliments you can possibly get from your chess games, to have your opponent accuse you of cheating when you're not cheating, because it's sort of like they just think you're so strong that it's, yeah, just funny to me. Admittedly, the opening I've played isn't very good, this From's Gambit. The problem with it is that you get this nice active play, but they just get this very strong center, and you don't really get that much for it. So I might have to go into swindle mode. To be honest, I'm not really sure why I played it this time, because I actually knew he would know the refutation, whereas I normally play against relatively low-rated players. But, after e5, g5, bishop b3, knight e5, I can sack a piece and maybe have some counterplay and some tricks in that position. So let's see how it plays out from here. Seems okay, got it, thanks for answering. Yeah, you're welcome. So now I'm just going to play for tactics, because I don't really have any objectively good lines here, but what I can do is I can try to mix it up. Like, actually, I can play rook h2, I think. That looks really good. Unless I have some bishop d4 intermezzo to defend this, and yeah, actually, it's not a problem, because I can take. Like, this is one thing about the From's Gambit. Objectively, it's complete rubbish. White is just much better if they play the right moves. But at a human level, there are a lot of tricks that they have to deal with. Unfortunately, I've kind of running in a rook d2, rook h8, which would win one of my bishops. So I think I have to go bishop b5 first. And then if the knight moves, I can try to do some discovered check. And if this, I can now take and I can hit here. Because if you try to save the bishop, then this comes with a check, which really helps a lot. But he's playing like just very... He might actually be forcing me to take some repetition, perhaps. Unless I have, some really good move here. Because king c6, this comes with a check. King e6 runs over rook e1. So I might just have to repeat moves, which is kind of sad, but at least it's a quick draw, so I don't waste a whole lot of time on it. Looks like he just wants to repeat for some weird reason. Either that or he's just saying, okay, you're not willing to repeat because you're 300 points higher rated, and now he's going to play on. He says 1 king c6 and he doesn't see that it's come to a check. Okay, I'm not going to do a rematch, but yeah, I played that game very badly. But okay, still was a draw. Considering I play an opening gets a position, I guess it's not the worst thing. But this time, yeah, I will try to play a little bit better openings. Actually, in a way, it's kind of like Nepomniachtchi's style. He sort of will often play these systems that objectively are not that great, but sort of trying to just get some sort of creative position or some interesting attacking chances. Gets quite a unique sort of style among the top players in the world. So anyway, he normally goes for knight off against e4, so I'm going to play the knight off as well. At least, well, my opponent seems will let me do it. At least does some... Oh, it's a bullet game. Didn't even realize it was a bullet game. I know Nepo normally goes e5, so I'm going to do the same thing. But fe5 is a bit of a concession. And now he's just blundering a pawn. So it makes life very easy. Now he blunders a piece. And the guy's rated 2,000 as well, but it is 2,000 bullets. That's like, what, 1,600 normally. And I'm just going to take all the pawns here. Knight c6, long castle at some point. Go here first to defend the pawn and then long castle. I don't know why he's blundering the piece. Because even though I just pre-move like I did, it doesn't really change anything. But yeah, I mean, now it's just very easy for me. I mean, I can actually just pre-move this to a win. So f5, e4, knight e5, this sort of thing. I'm just going to put my king on squares, but they can't check me easily. Okay, that's kind of a weird choice by them. But okay, it honestly doesn't matter by this point. The only weird thing is why he's not resigning, and the only explanation I have is that it's bullet. I think in no time Trolley would have resigned by now. But you never know. It's sometimes surprising how people will just be so annoyed at how badly they played before that they just play on purely out of spite or just kind of being annoyed at themselves. So anyway, we can just move forward here. He can't stop all the pawns at once. Yeah, it is kind of funny. I get to queen the pawn and give mate. Okay, let's find another game. I want to play more 3 minute because 3 minute gives me a bit more time to talk about my to see the comments you guys have and to answer them. Once again, I played d4 out of habit and forget to play Nepo's 1 e4. Then again, it would be kind of funny if you think about if everyone expects Nepo to play 1 e4 in a match and suddenly he switches to another main move of 1 c4 or even just plays 1 d4 out of nowhere, just preparing it for the event. Because if you think about it, actually, Vishy Anand, when he was playing the match against Vladimir Kramnik for World Championship back in 2007, that's actually what he did. He played, he was an e4 player almost exclusively before the match, but then especially for the match, he just switched to playing 1 d4, and Kramnik just wasn't ready for it and just wasn't able to deal with it, so who knows, maybe Nepo might try to do something similar against Carlsen, but I do have a feeling he will probably stick to his guns because the thing is, Nepo is the lower rated player in the match. Carlsen obviously is the favourite. So kind of when you're the lower rated player, it in general makes more sense to kind of stick to what you know best, because if you try to do something completely different and play not to your strengths, then you're more likely just to confuse yourself and make it easier for your opponent as such. Whereas at least if you play a line where you have more experience than they do in the positions, you can still try to outplay them even if they're higher rated. So that's kind of the logic there. I'll go queen e4. I'm going to fork the bishop and fork this pawn on h7. He defends them both, but I go queen to c4. And I mean, I am up 2 pawns at the moment at this point. I'd have to be a little bit careful about some bishop, rook f3, queen g5, but bishop to d2, I guess, hits the queen to get out of that. He's probably going to play something like bishop d3, queen d3, queen h5, and keep trying to attack my king, or not. So I have to take. Actually, maybe I shouldn't have taken. It does help his rook get active for more or less for free. But I am still 2 pawns ahead. I mean, I can play rook e1. I use this rook because I want to keep this f-rook to defend this pawn and deal with the pressure here, which could have been annoying if he had gone knight e5, for example, but he decided not to do this. So bishop c3, let's play rook e3. Let's just keep everything nice and solid. But yeah, it is true, I'm probably going to have a lot less viewers for this stream just because, well, I'm not doing it on the schedule, but it's like, let's say, an unscheduled stream. So, yeah. So we'll see how long I end up sort of streaming it for. I mean, I'm sort of thinking the very latest will probably be like a 3-hour one, but in reality it's probably going to be a little bit less than that just because I already played a lot of games already, but we'll see how it goes, see how I'm feeling. So knight f6 I can actually take, I think. And probably it's not the very best move, but my idea is to just sort of put an eye on f5 and say his bishop is not really got that much of a target at this point. So after h6 now I'm hitting this guy as well. So I can even take the pawn if I want. I could even take with the rook potentially. I might go f4 first. Actually, if f4 the thing is if I play knight f6, h6. My knight is potentially a little bit trapped, so I'm going to go g4 first in order to prepare knight h6. Yeah, if he defends the pawn, I've got rook e7 and actually have a nice mate that he's just fallen into. So that was pretty straightforward. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, I get this guy again. Okay, let's play Nepo's repertoire, e4. I've already forgotten what this guy does. He does e5 normally, I think. Or maybe he goes d6 normally. Okay, and Nepo does something aggressive there. What's wrong with my internet? So it took me like 6x to make the move and I played almost instantly. Because my internet is really bad today, which is kind of annoying. Normally it's a lot better. Maybe it's because I have a lot of other like tabs open in another way. Just close them, that might help a bit. Just bear me a sec as I do that. Okay, so he's going for this. And now I think after c6, move bishop d2 is meant to be quite a decent shortcut compared to usual bishop e3. Guess you just kind of, well, go e5 and just have this nice space advantage. At least I remember it correctly. I could be completely misremembering the lines actually. Because knight g4 looks really annoying now. And I might actually have to sacrifice the exchange in that case. So, yeah, this kind of screwed up the opening. Because it's too long since I looked at this. That's kind of the thing. But okay, bishop f2, he should go knight f2, knight g4 back. But he wants to try to do it this way, which is intriguing. I mean, I can always play bishop e1 in a worst case to cover it. But I'm also thinking of playing a move like king c1. But he will probably actually just go back and forth. So maybe my best bet is just play bishop e1 just so he can force a draw. Teletubby Roxo says, Salva, salva, GM. Hey, bros up. To open an ice cream bike, I push and you scream. I have no other. Okay, thanks for commenting on the stream all the way. So okay, for this position, yeah, we can go for like bishop h4 and kick the queen, or even bishop f2, just trade off the bishop. So anyway. So what else have we got here? Oh, nice, we have a few more viewers. Welcome aboard on the stream. This is what you came here for, some Grandmaster blitz chess. Actually, I think Nepo, I'm not sure if he would go f4, knight f3 on move 4, but anyway, we get a creative position, so I guess that means he would probably go for something like this, would be my guess. Let's go h3, g4, f5. He's trying to stop it, but he's also giving me moves like bishop h4, for example, and, you know, the queen struggles a little bit to find a good square, just knight d4, prepare f5, push in the center, and we can sort of see why h5 was probably not the best move for black, because now if he castles, I can just take the pawn on h5 after that. So he goes knight e4, which I had a feeling might be the move he'd play here. But I can take and I just win a pawn, or I get a beautiful check and monster outpost on d6. Now in chess we like to call this piece the octopus, because it just sees everything here. I think I can go f5. If he attacks my knight with bishop c5, I just chop off the bishop. Probably go e6 and just rip open their king. Like this. Now he promised my rook is not really in the game, but otherwise my position is pretty good. Let's just be very direct and keep up some initiative before he can try to get his king somewhat to safety. So c3. Because if he plays fe6, f takes comes with a check, which is a little bit of a problem for him, let's say. So anyway, I'm going to go... He's giving me the option of takes. But he has bishop g5 then. Okay, bishop e7 actually is kind of a reasonable move by him. Unless I have to move f6 after this. Maybe I can do that. Or just the idea of just forcing open the lines. Unless he has rook... No, he blunders. He blundered queen e6. And the point of this queen sack is that I go bishop e5 with a discovered check also hitting the queen. And that will ensure that I remain a piece ahead at the end of this. So he has this. I didn't see he could play this move, but he is down the rook in this case. So it doesn't really help him. Let's go rook f2, defend this pawn. And once I get my other rook in the game, there's not a lot he can really do to survive this. But also I'm playing a little bit more slowly today, which might be why I'm playing it somewhat better than the previous streams, because I'm just using my time and thinking more. Doesn't mean I'll get less points on leaderboard, but I'd rather, I think, win all of my games and, you know, maybe get, say, less points on leaderboard than get a lot of points, but, like, have some really stupid losses, like 2 100s or something. So anyway, well, if king f8, I can just take because of the pin, and if king d7, I take f7 anyway. So he's probably going to resign. And kind of part of me hopes he will sort of say something in the chat, actually, but he decided not to this time. Okay, let's see how many times I end up having to play this guy. I might have playing like just 10 games against the dude. Okay, playing Gavin a box 740 rating. Let's go d5. Maybe play e6, just play something semi-classical. I mean, I haven't played the Tarash defense in a while, so maybe I can try that, even though this is not really Nepo's opening. So like I sort of forget like what I told the video, like Nepo openings with white and black, but I guess what it means is I will play them when I remember to play them, and if I don't remember to play them, then it's not going to happen. Actually, I don't know if d4 is the best. I probably should have gone for like bishop c5, because knight e4 and going in might have actually been a bit annoying. But he didn't see that, and the result is that knight c6, a6, I'm just going to have a very nice central majority and central space advantage. Well, I guess I can try and move like e3, and actually it's probably his best move, but I can keep that pawn there. If that's a little bit sideline on b5 or potentially a3 later. So if he goes bishop d3, we go knight f6, threatening some e4 at some point to fork the knight and the bishop. Okay, the guy wants to chat, says, thanks for playing, sir. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it says the flag is New Zealand, but actually it's one thing I kind of realized, that if they like say sort of sir at the end of the sentence, and they're probably from India. Obviously English is spoken a lot of different places, but like these little subtle differences in the language, like in how it's used depending on, you know, the country that it's used in, and that's like an example of the, like of India, like they say sir quite a lot as like a, you know, also a way to be polite as such. So anyway, knight to queen, here we go, castles, bishop g4, and, you know, just, we're up a piece. And since I'm up a piece, maybe I get some time to figure out some kind of story to tell at this stage. But so far, like, the story's not really coming to my mind that much. I mean, there is one actually really funny one, I guess. But the thing is that, like, no one is sort of watching, so since nobody is actually watching this stream live at the moment, I think what I'll do is I'll save the stories when there's actually quite a few of you watching, and if there's not many watching, I'm just not going to share the stories for the most part. At least I think that's the right way. Maybe not just the right way around. Maybe what you should do is share the story, and then all the people come to hear it. But yeah, I guess, well, the only way you know that I'll be telling one is if you're actually on the stream. But yeah, I just blundered a piece, and now it's easy. Just attack, win the pawns, promote this pawn one of these days, put all the pieces in the center. All of these pieces are now developed, which is very good. Knight e4, d2 stuff, and yeah, he just doesn't have a good move. I like the classic joke, the best move is to resign. Maybe I'll go knight e2 just to show off, even though knight to b1 was probably actually better, but instead he just blunders the queen. And Gavin a box becomes, you know, chicken chowder in a box. So okay, we take king e2, we can go bishop g4, and yeah, the pieces are just all flooding in. Flooding in like it's the end of the world, like it's Armageddon. And mate, okay, let's find another opponent. That was actually a somewhat quick game, even though he spent like 2 minutes on his moves. Nepo normally goes c5. You just keep forgetting again and again, like, to play his openings. I keep getting distracted by myself. Okay, I played knight f6 a lot this morning, so I'm going to mix it up a bit and play bishop c5 this time. And if he goes d3, yeah, knight a5 is a nice way to spice up the game, where you just trade off their bishop pair and just kind of play it from here. I don't know if a6 is the most precise, actually, but it's what I did. Now I get this very boring position where not a lot is happening. But he's probably going to do something like d4 at some point and weaken e4 for me. So he did it just now. That was quite a precipitous type. So take. Let's go rook d8, maybe c6 and then rook d8. Because he could play knight d5 actually, and yeah, that's actually a good move on his part to undouble the pawns. But I still think my position is pretty good. I mean, I've got this space in the center, and my bishop is probably better than his knight. I can try to undermine his center or push on the king side. I feel like I have more breaks in this kind of position than he does. Yeah, his extra space doesn't actually mean that much when he, when he doesn't have, when there aren't so many pieces on the board. King h8 is a bit careless, because now here he would be able to attack this, but he decides not to do that. So I'll go around here and attack this pawn. It's not really a lot happening in this sort of position. I mean, I guess I can go b5 at some point if rook e1 and maybe try to spice it up that way by opening up the queen side a little. But it could potentially undouble his pawns, which I don't know if I want to do just yet. So yeah, just a very quiet, dull, dreary position. Oh, John says, hey, yeah, welcome to the stream, John. I remember that when we played on like the previous stream that you were visiting, that we finally were able to, to get a game, as it were. Also, you probably saw as well, I actually have the stars feature now, which means you can actually, well, not you, but anyone watching, the replay can actually now support the stream. So that's all well and good. Unfortunately, I just blundered a pawn with d takes c6 and rook a6, and I do actually still get some compensation there because of the open file, but still allowing that was not really a great idea. But okay, I can maybe go rook c8 and just kind of grind away. I mean, I have a feeling this game's going to be one where it just ends up going forever and he just ends up flagging. That's sort of my theory. Unless he puts some piece on pre, like knight f3, bishop e4 or something like this. Because the one good thing is at least he doesn't really have a very clear plan either at the moment. Okay, goes knight f3. You know what I will take? Because CD, I open the rook, and if ED, I have a bishop d3 tactic, which he does see. But okay, I'll go rook c5. I'm going to try to attack like this. I'll keep the pressure on his pawn, and if knight f5... Knight f5 is a somewhat annoying move, actually, but fortunately he blundered the pawn like this. And now I can take here. So, okay, my next moves are going to be like rook c8, rook c4, and just pile the pressure on this guy here. Maybe king f7 first, just get the king active and then go for it. So knight f3, rook c8. I mean, you can meet rook c4, knight d2, but that's still a little bit of a concession, I think. Because once the knight moves, he has to then figure out how to deal with the attack here. I think I can just play rook e4, right? I don't really see anything wrong with this idea. So I trade the rooks, I threaten rook b2, and, you know, this rook d1, I can just simply play king e8 and just blockade the pawn. And that pawn is not going anywhere, except it back in the box. So rook here. Let's play bishop to c6 and just take the pawn back. Obviously, we want to make sure our rook stays protected. We can then take the pawn. I was even considering leaving it, actually, but I think I will just take it. Just that's the only thing that can really hurt me in this position. Otherwise, you know, I'm just 4 pawns ahead, which actually worth even more than a knight or a bishop for that matter. At least most of the time. There are exceptions to these things where, you know, the 4 pawns are not as good as a bishop, but most of the time they are. So in any case, let's see, fell for a mate in 1. Okay, so that game's over and done with. Let's play another one against Enigma Code, who I played against before. I kind of like that username, actually, because it reminds me of The Imitation Game, like a really great movie about Alan Turing and how, you know, he basically won the war for the Allies against Germany, World War II. So anyway, so he's playing this weird sort of like dragon. Well, we've tried this weird dragon where knight b3 and bishop d3 don't really gel well with like bishop g5, queen d2. The question is, what's the plan now? I mean, I'm tempted to play a move like a5, because if he goes a4, I mean, probably it's his best move. But I can maybe go bishop e6 and try to use that b4 square and hit his bishop. And I mean, yeah, probably the engine wouldn't say it's the best way to play, but I think it's reasonable enough. I can go rook c8, knight b4. Because I think he's not really in a position to go h4, h5. I can just play h4, h5, and like, what's the follow-up then? So, okay, so knight b4, let's use that square. Now, to be fair, he does get b5 as well for his pieces, but I think that when his bishop is on d3, b4 is a little bit more valuable for me. So he's trying to hit this bishop. I could actually just let him take and just say, well, even though I get doubled pawns, I also open up the f-file for the rook and also stop him playing knight d5. So I get some trade-offs in return for accepting the doubled pawns. And okay, the other trade-off is that he just blundered a knight, and so I'm just winning. I don't know, he said he could do some bishop d3 to h6 or something. It's hard to say. But anyway, that pretty much is the game at this point. To queen e2, I'm very tempted to actually sack the exchange. It's not really necessary, but it's kind of a thematic idea in the dragon that you often can play rook takes c3 just to completely mess up the pawn structure. Obviously, it's better when you're a piece ahead to begin with, of course. So I can go rook c8, attack this guy. I can also bring the knight around and attack like this. Okay, he wants to try and attack me somehow, but I mean, f5, I just go bishop c4, and I mean, I just trade off his defending bishop. It's not like he's got the piece to really attack anyway, so I just attack on the king side. You just take, and you know, I still keep this very nice solid pawn structure. You can see it kind of even looks like a dragon, which is why the opening is called this and not, I don't know, the Grufeld variation. It's okay. Actually, that would be fine, like the Grufeld Sicilian, because Grufeld, like, back in, he was around, he tried, like, give names to everything. Like, he had this funny story, actually, called about his game he called the Mona Lisa, where he said he was, like, inspired by this Russian girl he saw, like, at the tournament that he had this massive crush on. So he kind of played the game for her, and then he then went to this woman's board, and said, "Oh, come and see the beautiful combination I just played. And I played it for you." And then she saw it and she was like really impressed and like felt really good. But then she kind of got distracted and she just then played a big blunder on her board and then was in tears after that. And then afterwards, the Soviet Four said, "Oh, but Grufeld distracted her from playing good moves." So as a result, they said, "Okay, you're not allowed anywhere near the women's team's board or something like this, or the women's players' board." Because I think it was in like some like Team 12 other countries as well. So yeah, it's kind of funny how that story turned out, like sort of a kind of forbidden love story in the very end. But yeah, anyway, you guys might enjoy that little reference. And by the way, also I forgot to mention, like if you are watching this on YouTube, then do make sure to remember to to like the video, smash that like button, and definitely consider subscribing, especially if you are new to the channel. Obviously, on YouTube we don't, on rather Facebook, we don't have the become a supporter, which is like the kind of like equivalent, I guess. Well, actually, probably the equivalent is like following, like the becoming a supporter. That obviously will be unlocked when I have a lot more views and when it's actually given as an invitation. But that's going to require some good like activity. Like it's going to require you guys like commenting quite a bit. You guys actually doing a fairly decent job of doing it so far. Like even like the troll comments like kind of help with the engagement in a weird sort of way. Not that I want to say people be trolling all the time, but you get the idea that every little bit kind of helps. So he goes a6. He could have taken my pawn earlier. Maybe I should just defend it with 92. It's one sort of weird quirk I know this guy's style, so he just likes to give away all his queenside pawns in the opening and then to start to think, okay, why did I give away all these pawns at the start? Oh, why? It's because I want to play like Mikhail Tal. I want to just give up all the pawns and then somehow win with some brilliant combination. But it's much easier to find a strong combination when you aren't down 3 pawns right out of the opening, just as a pro tip for you there. So 97, I mean, I can even take another pawn. Maybe it's going to be the game of just taking all the stuff. Kind of like looting in a computer game or something. So okay, I'm not going to take because that would be really, really bad. But just queen here and I keep everything defended. And we can even take this. But then he has rook h8, which actually would be kind of embarrassing for me. So I just keep the queen defending my king side and I just roll the pawns forward. I mean, how are you going to deal with the pawn roller, man? What are you going to play g4? I mean, yeah, his idea is absolutely g4, but queen g3. And I mean, I'm threatening b6. My threats are a million times faster than his at this point. Okay, I can even go c6 at this stage and just completely paralyze his pieces. Just queen g3. And I mean, he has nothing here. Queen b6, I can even go d5. I just want to force the queens off the board, which I might be very tempted to do, actually. It's not the very best move, but I think it's pretty safe. I mean, I could also even take this pawn at some stage now that I've dealt with the pressure down that long diagonal. And yeah, we've got a few more viewers coming in. Welcome aboard, guys. Grandmaster Max Illingworth here, giving you some high-quality blitz chess. Showing you how to beat these, 1,500, 1,600 players that you play against a lot and maybe, you're perhaps not that an experienced player, maybe your rating is not so high, but by watching a stream you can see how to beat them and also just enjoy chess in general as well. I mean, basically, I think that if you do a stream that's based on improving first and on entertainment second, I think you're not going to get any views, but if you focus on entertainment first and then improving just on the side, you just kind of enjoy it as you go along, I think that's probably the best way, right? So, in any case, well, he decides not to trade the rooks, which is probably sensible, but it just doesn't matter because I'm up. I've already lost count of how many pawns I'm ahead at this point. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm up 5 pawns. That's pretty crazy. Actually, it'd be really fun to have a game where you start all 8 pawns alive at the end of the game because your opponent is just giving them all away and they just don't have any pawns left. Actually, I think I did main trade in a blitz game once where I was trolling someone, but I've forgotten who it was now that I was playing. I've forgotten all the details. All the juicy deets. Actually, of course I missed that c7 wins a rook. Well, I saw it earlier, but I just completely forgot about it. But okay, now I can take, and 96, knight c7 forks are coming up. And yeah, we just win easily. So, yeah, if you check my ranking, you'll see actually I'm now number 7 in the Elite League. So, my goal for this stream is to get to the top 3 in the Elite League. Am I going to succeed in achieving it? Maybe I can do a little poll at some point. So the last time I did a poll, nobody responded. It was just crickets. No one answered the poll. It seems to work better when you have, at least 10 viewers watching, I think. So, but maybe you can let me know in the comments, like, do you think I'm going to make top 3 in the Elite League by the end of the stream, or do you think I won't make the top 3? You can let me know, and we'll see what the consensus is here, if you guys have the faith. Carl John Palasok asked how to battle UGM. I love that one, how to battle. So basically, what you can do is you can challenge me on chess.com. You guys are open to send me a challenge. Obviously, if I'm playing a game like I am now, then it's not going to come up. But you can go on chess.com, and on different tabs, you can click on players in the top right. Go to top players, go to the bullet time control, and then you'll see my name relatively high on that list for bullet. And then you can click my name when I finish playing, and you can challenge me. And unless there's some very bad, serious glitch with the server, you actually are going to be able to challenge me and, maybe play your first game against Grandmaster. How cool would that be? I'm just going to trade off some pieces because, I am up a full pawn at this point. And also, this pawn is quite weak, so I'm just going to kind of annoy him. When there's queen a3, rook d8, I can bring my knight around and just clear away for my knight to my rook, rather to pressure the pawn on d4, because this is a backward pawn, so that means it's going to be under fire. Whereas if that pawn's on c4, in theory, you could still go d5 and try to attack, support the advance of the pawn, but here the pawn is kind of fixed in place. And now, actually, I can just go knight f8, grab a little bit of space on the queen side before going for the big plan. I do have to be a bit careful I'm not blundering my queen somehow. It's sort of weird, actually. This guy, he only blunders one pawn when he's playing with the white piece, but with black, he blunders 3 pawns. It's kind of a curious feature of his play. I should probably go h6 or h5 at some point, just to make some luft for the king. Because it just will mean that if you ever... for example, here, if I take, he's going to have rook a8, but I'm going to do this anyway, though, because it actually doesn't matter, because I have the move knight to f8 at the very end, and that's going to block the back rank mate. So, okay, he does this, and now... If I was in a creative mood, I'd maybe even take with queen d1, but... it's tempting, but it doesn't actually quite work, so I'm just going to go h6, and... Okay, I'm allowing bishop f3, but I can defend this pawn. Rook a6, I can play rook c8 or knight e7 in the very worst case. If he divers, I might even go e5, e4. Actually, he could have played rook d1 and kind of got a pawn back like this. He missed this possibility. Whereas now I'm just able to consolidate a position. My challenge GM, KK is my username. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. Look forward to playing a game against you as we get some more viewers. Man, this is a great thing about Facebook gaming. With Twitch, you could spend so much time streaming to 2 viewers for your whole life. Whereas with Facebook, it does grow a bit more quickly. It still requires a lot of patience, but I think that compared to YouTube or Twitch, unless you're really lucky, the growth is, I think, a little bit faster on average with Facebook gaming because of the way that the Facebook algorithm works. It kind of supports the growth of the smaller channels a lot more in my experience. Whereas with the other ones, there's so many voices that you kind of just end up being lost in the chorus of voices, as it were. At least that's what it feels like for me, because I started my YouTube channel 4 years ago, and I still don't have 1,000 subscribers. And then you hear someone else who gets 100,000 subscribers more within the first year, and it's on the one hand you're happy for them that they're doing so well, but then you're also well, why can't that happen for me as well? I think this is a record. This is the first time we've ever hit 10 viewers on the stream. So congratulations, guys. You're a part of history here. I don't know, maybe somebody rated the stream, maybe somebody shared it. I think I can check this to see. Yeah, we have 2 shares. I don't see on my profile who shared, but whoever it was, just thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. And if we do go back to talking about the Twitch and YouTube, or especially with Twitch, a lot of the growth does just come from basically more established streamers basically sharing it at some point. Whereas with Facebook, as I mismade in one with rook d1, with Facebook it comes more from, kind of you guys sharing as such. Even if you're, I don't know, let's say someone, maybe you only have 50 friends, no one really likes or shares your post or whatever. If you share the stream in a big group, let's say, for example, I don't know what to say as I say name because it might count as illegal promotion. I don't really want to encourage it. But let's say for example, you share it in Chess Teachers and Learners, for example. Then obviously then there are nearly 100,000 people in that group. Probably there will be 100,000 in the next so many days or a week or whatever. So they're obviously if you share it there, it just gets so many people who kind of can look at it as such, and the more people that share, the better. So yeah, that's really cool. That's where a lot of you guys came from, someone sharing the video in some group like this. So thanks again. Actually, I should have gone knight f6 and I should have put knight e4. I probably should focus a little bit more on the game because, well, the guy is rated 2548, so he's not, let's say, extremely lower rated than me in that sense. So I'm going to play king h7, I think. Okay, he's doing queen b3 for some reason. He does have this knight e5, so it's a somewhat annoying move. But maybe I can make use of my knight being on e7 and try to maneuver my knight towards c4. I could also go this way with like f5 to d6, but I'm worried about knight e5 a little bit then. So I'm going to go this way. Maybe I should have just taken the knight, because if I go to c4, it's probably going to get traded anyway. Because I get a little bit of indigestion. Like I sort of, yeah, it took a while before I actually ate some food. And when I did eat, I was just only eating meat. So that's probably why I have a little indigestion at the moment. Maybe I can go queen c8. Let him take and let him improve the position of my king. And I actually threaten a cheapo rook takes d4 using the pin, which he does spot. And he's going for queen f6. I might want to cover that with queen d8. If queen f4, maybe I go queen g5 and just try to get rid of the queens. But he goes rook e5. So now we have this battle between him trying to do something on the queen-king side and me trying to weaken his structure on the queen side. And I have a feeling it's probably a quite close to balanced battle in this case. But if b4 has rook bishop f1 all the time, actually could do bishop f1 here as well, in fact. And yeah, now of course he sees it. Well, that's freaking great. I just blundered an exchange, or blundered a pawn. But neither option is that great for me. Oh man, it's so annoying. He's playing so badly in this game. Like, they just have these games like sometimes I just don't see anything whatsoever. Just play like complete moron, and this is one of these games. Just playing so dumb. And as usual, I'm complete for getting to play like Nepo. Because normally I do very well against the birds opening. Like normally like I have nearly 100% score of it, but for some reason against this guy, I'm just not doing well against his birds opening at all. It's like he's just flipping me the bird and getting away with it. So yeah, like we score like, you know, my score is about like 75% against him, but based on ranking, the score should be more something like 90%. So just yeah, it seemed to be a difficult opponent for me for some reason. And then the guy like, has the goal like to call me a cheater as well when I'm playing so badly against him in nearly all the games. It's kind of funny. Okay, at least he's disconnected, so I might end up winning this one from this extremely bad position. Okay, h5 gives me some hope that I can maybe go bishop g4 and hit his weakness. And in these positions when you're down material, sometimes your best bet is just to try to keep everything as defended as possible and kind of hope they get a bit frustrated in the process. Like bishop g4, you know, now this is actually a little bit annoying for him. Like bishop e2, I can maybe even play just bishop back to e6 again and say, okay, you don't have better than you know, bishop b back to b5 anyway. So he's trying to attack my king, but the thing is my bishop now defends f7. I think that's what he did not see beforehand. And actually, isn't this just a blunder because of f6? Do I just hit the queen and hit the rook? So yeah, now he's just self-destructing at this point. So you know he's like after this, he's going to say, oh, you were cheating, you were down a pawn and then suddenly you were winning by 4. But the reality is that it's just, yeah, it's just that he just played really badly, just completely self-destructed. And yeah, it's an interesting question which way I'd take. I think I'll take the rook. I do think we actually have quite a few comments here. Oh, wow. It says, we Filipinos love chess. Yeah, I know that, like, you really, yeah, have a lot of chess players. And actually, I noticed there are quite a few quite interesting Filipino, like, streams of chess on Facebook Gaming, like Chesscology. And there was another one I saw recently as well, but I don't think they're normally a chess stream that, like, was getting, like, heaps of views. But, yeah, like, they have, like, these matches where basically they have two people playing against each other, and it's, like, a best of 7 to determine who will win. So, yeah, that's, like, kind of fun to actually have a look at them a bit as well. And so we have, you know, some, you know, muscle pumps from Edward. So, yeah, great to have you showing your strength. Let's play another game. Actually, before I do, maybe I can also continue answering your comments. So we have Chesscology, Chess from John Peter Saribian. Oh, yeah, thanks. Richard Manzano says, yo, greetings from Philippines, GMX. Good day. Carl John Apollo says, how to join your tournament, GM. Yeah, actually, I'm not running a tournament. I'm just playing unrated blitz games on chess.com, just doing seeks and playing whoever. Or if, like, let's say one of you guys challenges me, I'll accept. But there's actually a tournament being run by chess teachers and learners in that group. And actually, I kind of promised them that I would shout out their tournament at some point, but I just keep forgetting. But basically what it is they are running this event, I think on the 30th of October. And I think it's at, I know it's like at 6 p.m. I think it's at 6 p.m. Vietnam time. Like, I know the details are in a group. Like, Vietnam is GMT +7. So I think Philippines time zone is like 1 hour after that. At least if you're like the same time zone as Singapore. Like, I don't remember whether you're in the Singapore time zone or whether you're in the Japan time zone, because it's, I think, a little bit different. But it's around that time, like evening, sort of like Asia time. So it's actually pretty good for you guys if you want to join it, and definitely I can recommend. In terms of whether I'll play it, I haven't really decided. I'm like sort of 50-50. Maybe I'll play it just for the stream, or maybe I'll also, you know, play the, maybe also like play the, you know, I've already lost train of thought. Like, but I might also just like not play it for the stream, have something else on. We'll see how it goes, but I will keep you guys posted anyway. So anyhow, so yeah, with this move, I can see that he's really weakened his dark squares quite a lot. And because he doesn't have a light squared bishop defending on g2, I can do stuff like bishop g4 and bishop f3, and it's just very hard to deal with it. So I have a feeling that some of the shares might be coming from the Chesscology, so if my theory is correct, well, thank you so much. Really appreciate the support. Really, it really helps the channel so much to have just so many viewers. Really grateful. Carl says, I want to challenge Max Hehe. Yeah, I think I mentioned it before that the way to challenge me is you just click on the Players tab, which is like the right tab, and you find my username in like Top Players for Bullet or for Blitz. It'll probably be faster if you do it for Bullet because my rating there is higher, and then you can send me a challenge like by clicking on my name, and then, you know, there'll be some challenge option. I hardly ever use it myself, I think that's the way to do it. And Great Sooners says notify, meaning following. Yeah, thank you very much for the follow. I haven't figured out like what the like big streamers do, like where they have this feature where it sort of notifies on the actual video whenever somebody follows. I don't know how do I set that up. That's something I should actually look into, or maybe if one of you guys know, you can let me know in the comments. But yeah, that would be when someone actually see it. And we also have notify from John Peter. Great to have you following. Thank you for the support. It really does mean a lot to me to see you guys are there. Also, Carl, did I mention notifying followage? Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, so we have plus followage. I should actually figure out like how these things are, because the thing is I haven't even been streaming for like 1 week. I think tomorrow is like my 1 week anniversary for streaming, and not just so actually it's also my 2-year wedding anniversary as well, actually in 2 days. So yeah, tomorrow is like a day of anniversary as such. So okay, also I heard like that we have also 30 stars sent by Edward. Filipino Power support every streamers. Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate the 30 stars. I think you're the, unless someone donated like while I wasn't streaming live, I think you're the second person to send me stars. So you're in the record books. Thanks for the support. Divine says you can set that using Streamlabs dashboard. Yeah, thanks for the tip. That's something I should check out after the stream, and I can set up the future ones. So yeah, thanks for the support. Okay, so you can see that he should have played the move Queen F1, because then he could have threatened my queen before I get this in. You know, you might think that the Queen H2 is more natural because it comes with check, but actually the coup de grace is the move Knight H2, because now I'm threatening Knight F3, mate. Like the deadly quiet move as my first chess coach, GM John Paul Wallace, or I am John Paul Wallace. So that's checkmate. Okay, so Carl said that he already sent his challenge. Thanks, GM. God bless. KK boy. I don't see a challenge at the moment, but you might want to try to send it through again and see if it works. Now, I can actually see I didn't play very well in this game. It says I made a lot of mistakes. One thing I can do is I can also do like a game review, but if I do that, I think I won't do your challenge. Like, I'm not sure how it works. I actually see the notification. I actually see who shared my post. That actually, Carl John, you just shared my post some days ago. So yeah, or not some days ago, some minutes ago. So yeah, thank you a lot for that. I don't see a challenge right now unless... Okay, yeah, adding me as a friend is a good idea. Because if you add me as a friend, the thing is you actually can then challenge me from your friend list just by going to I for Illingworth. Because I know like some funny thing is that like when some people see my name, like because it's a capital I, they think it's a L. So I think my name is Lingworth, like 3 L's. It's kind of funny. So John Pierce says, GM, join our duck race sometimes, haha. Yeah, I saw like the duck race when I was like checking like the others, what streams are on live. You know, I like to, you know, hit the love button whenever I see a stream of someone like Chesscology or Charlie Sato, just to help them get more engagement and to, you know, to they can make a better living. But yeah, I don't understand. Like, is it kind of like is it horse racing where like you have the horse that you bet on and they try to go through, or is like you control like you like have to tap the things as quickly as possible? I'm kind of curious about it, how that kind of works. So bishop e3. Okay, he's keeping the tension between the queens, because if I take him, his knight is coming to a much better square with the recapture. But if he takes me, I can bring my bishop or rook to a more active square in return. That's sometimes good to keep the tension between the pieces, especially in these blitz games. It's often how you can outplay these opponents. Because sometimes when you have this piece tension, they're so busy thinking about it, they don't really notice the other tricks you've got up your sleeve. For example, a really funny thing here would be if he castles long, I would have the move queen to a8 checkmate here. So I don't think he's going to fall for that trap because he's thinking, but you never know. Sometimes you... Oh, looks like we have another donation as I play checkmate. What was it? Carl's 75 stars. Yeah, thank you so much for the support. Really appreciate the stars donation. I think you guys can see that I've actually set a goal of having, what is it, like 5,000 stars from this stream, and a very ambitious goal, but that comes to like $50. And the thing is, like, because I'm living in Vietnam, like, I think you guys, like, in the Philippines, like, you basically can sort of, like, live pretty well, like, with on a wage that maybe is not so high in the US by comparison. Like, for example, say if you're earning, I think, like, $1,000 USD a month, like, you can actually have a pretty good life in Vietnam, or rather in the Philippines. But also I think it's true in Vietnam as well. Like, if you are earning, let's say, like 1,000 US dollars, that's actually like a pretty over here. So it's sort of one way to, minimize your expenses and live the good life. So I really appreciate the support. So in any case, I haven't played this very well, like against this Dutch. Yeah, he can take the pawn back, because the point is that after takes, if I go ef5, he has this annoying bishop d4 intermediate check, but it might still be my best move anyway, because I don't want him to go f4 and just kind of shut in my bishop and pawn. And now I have this little trick here I can go for, because he's not in time to take my pawn immediately because his bishop is on fire. And here I have rook b1, and now I'm hitting this guy. Okay, now he's hitting me back, like, attack. So also I sent my challenge here, but it says here, you are not available to play. Yeah, the reason for that would be, I think, because I'm in a game right now. So probably you challenge me while I'm in a game, and so it's not coming up on the server. So the best thing to do is just to wait until I finish playing. The thing is that there is a little bit of a delay between the stream you're seeing here and like in real time as such. So the best thing to do is to actually go on chess.com and actually like look at whether I'm actually in a game at that exact moment. Because I sort of will basically do a seek almost as soon as I finish the game. So it means that like by the time you see me finishing this game on the stream, I might have already started a new game as such. I can see the viewing has cooled down a little bit. It was really great to have that massive spike of, I think we had a record of like 17 viewers maximum. I was just like, wow, I was like so blown away by like that support. So just, yeah, feeling really good and feeling really grateful. You made my day for Carl sharing my stream. Just thank you so much. I think I'm going to play h4. I just want to make it hard for him to get his bishop into the game. So I might go h5 and just try and queen my pawn. Okay, and in the end game, this is how you win. Because if you think about it, you're not generally going to force checkmate with this few pieces. There are some exceptions if they're a little bit careless, but normally the way you win is by basically queening a pawn so that you get mating material, right? And before that, usually you get the passed pawn, you end up like winning some of their pawns. Like you can see how his structure here is quite weak, and I was able to attack him in some ways. And it worked against this like 2-5-4-8 rated player, so I think it'll work against your typical opponents as well. I might go c5. Just want to try and slide the rook right in, and also make a little cubby hole for my king as well. Rook c7, again, see how I'm just attacking their weaknesses like this. King c4, and okay, probably rook f4 is his best try, trying to pick off these guys. I mean, when you're down in material, you have to try to play for activity, because unless you have some sort of fortress. John Jones, guys, if you challenge him, you have to be friends with him, so send a friend request on chess.com. Yeah, actually, that's something I wondered about. I think you might be right about that. Because I used to think that you could challenge people by, like, doing a... Well, what I can do is I can test it to see if you can actually challenge someone from the players link, and I can... It's not like, I mean, it's what I kind of just to confirm it just for my own reference, because now I'm kind of curious. But I think he doesn't have a real way to stop my pawn from queening, so I think he's probably going to resign Maybe he's going to trash talk me and say something like, oh, you were lucky, or oh, you did in this game. Now let's just queen. I mean, end up giving back the queen, but I'm up millions of material. I really don't know why he's playing on at this point, because there's nothing really to play for here. I mean, I'm not going to stalemate him at this point. Actually, I just realized I can do a funny thing where I can actually checkmate him without even queening a pawn, because I still have the rook. And now here's where he's going to do some trash talking. But, yeah. Wow, how many comments do I have? 29 comments. I actually think there was a stream I did where I was solving lots of puzzles where I actually had more comments than that, because a lot of people were basically trying to solve the puzzles. But we're getting close to some sort of record here. I mean, we already broke the record of, like, what, 17 viewers, I think is the current record. Maybe there were more when I was, like, busy focusing on the game, but you can certainly let me know. I'll read the comments because you're going to find this funny. So, Light It Mang 05 Duk Min says, lol, I am still faster than comp user. Comp you will get flagged sometimes. That is so funny. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so I have a star donation. Oh, I have a star from Charlie. Hey, Charlie, thanks for the support. Hey, stream is looking good, man. 200 stars sent. That's actually the biggest donation I've had ever on the stream, so thank you so much. Really, really appreciate the support. So, okay. And also, Charlie has his stream as well. Like, he has, like, I think the biggest, like, Facebook gaming stream for chess, so you can certainly check out his stream as well in your own time as well. You know, sometimes I check it out just to chill and have some fun. So anyway, so before I play a game, I want to check something. I'm going to do a test. I'm going to just challenge this guy to an unrated game. I mean, I don't think he's going to accept, but I just want to see if the challenge goes through or not. Try a balanced game to make it more even with material odds. Yeah, that would be a little insulting. Okay, so the challenge goes through if I challenge this guy. So I can confirm that you can actually challenge me from the top level as such. So, okay, so that does actually work. That's good to know. So that's where you can find top games, but I don't want to play against... I'm not going to play against him. I'm going to... Oh, okay, boy. It's getting... I took the time to check it so you can actually see it. I do want to go play against people who are on the stream, like, if possible, because, well, it's a way to sort of thank your support. Oh, games are bored. You challenged me to a rated game. Yeah, it's better if you challenge me to an unrated game. I just sort of prefer to just play it like that, because the thing is, like, if I play rated, like, against, let's say, a much rated player, there's a little bit of a risk that... Okay, for some reason I have this thing where I'm trying to send a challenge, but it won't let me kind of do it. Okay, so I'm going to test... Okay, let's try it now. Okay, it's still a rated game, but okay, no, in this case, you know, I trust you. So okay, because obviously, like, I get 0 points for a win, so that's kind of like the reason I know I play unrated. Now, Bishop G4 is a move I'm generally quite happy to see, because I just get this very nice pressure against these pawns, which are a bit weakened because of the black having traded his bishop. Actually, earlier today I had a game from this exact position, but okay, Queen E7 is a better move than what the other guy played against me. But okay, I'll play Bishop G5, just develop the pieces very fast, and, well, we can see because of spending that time to trade the bishop for a knight, that black has fallen quite behind in development, and actually I have a very nice tactic I can play as well if he were to move the queen. Bishop B6 is probably the best move here. And now if I want to actually have a tactic to win a pawn, which I'm thinking, should I go for it? I think it's a pawn in the hand, let's just do it before black can castle and maybe have a playable position. This is the point of the tactic, that now I win a pawn, and I'm hitting the knight, and I'm also making it hard for him to develop. And now I'm going to keep my bishop. I think my bishop is better than his knight, even though the position is not super open. Still, the position will probably open up at some point. So I want to keep the bishop around for that. So F3. And yeah, knight A6, he's trying to get his pieces out. Let's go king to E2, I think, because I want to try to keep control of that open file. Now, we could try and move like knight B4 and try to hit this way, but, you know, let's just keep the tension this way, keep control of the open file. Yeah, knight b4 is a good move. I think I should just defend it with king d2 and then kick the knight away after that. Actually, one thing is, like, if I'm going to be playing, like, games against, like, opponents, one thing I can do is maybe have some sort of delay. Yeah, this is a very tricky move. My rook is suddenly running short of squares, so I might want to make a little retreat for the rook after this. So rook d2. I can play, like, a3, bishop g5, knight d5 stuff. So, yeah, we've got good things happening. It's a matter of figuring out the right plan. Because I want to go like knight d5 without him being able to take me so easily. So that's why I played bishop g5 here. I mean, the lazy option is just to take that knight. Because I think in this closed position, maybe my bishop is not so much better than this knight in reality. Now, I could go knight d5 and just simply, trade. But I'm going to keep the knights on the board. Because I think keeping the knights on the board is going to make it much easier to go like knight f5 and attack some of his weak pawns. And if knight d4, I just have c3 to kick the knight away anyhow. So knight d5... I was thinking I might try knight d4, and it's a decent attempt, but I think that'll be in time to go knight g4, and that will make sure that my h2 pawn remains protected like this. So anyway, so I have f5 takes, and okay, I can play rook e2, I believe, and threaten the pawn this way. I mean, it's just kind of just picking off all the weak pawns at this stage, more or less. So rook d5, I'll just go c4, and, life will be pretty good there. Because not only am I hitting the rook, but if the rook moves, I can take. And he's going to lose the knight, because my knight covers this square. But, yeah, it's just going to be kind of over at this stage. So, anyway, I'm just going to just be a bit careful, because his raid, I don't want to get too cocky. But, okay, he resigned. But anyway, good game. Yeah, normally I wouldn't, play, rated games and such. But because, no one would normally challenge otherwise, well, I'll make an exception for this particular one. But yeah, normally, it should be an unrated secret. I'm just going to ignore it. Now I'm trying to figure out how to change this setting. Oh, I think I figured out how to do it. If I go here and I click custom game, I think, I can click the X and I get a random opponent. Okay, finally figured out that tech problem at the end. Yes, John Peter said, GM, do you play on Lead Chess also? Yeah, I do have a Lead Chess username as well. I don't play there very much. I only play very occasionally. I've been playing a lot on chess.com, and I think the reason I'm doing that is because at some point I may want to partner with chess.com. I can be a partnered streamer with Twitch potentially at some point. I haven't really figured out, but I kind of want to have the option to be able to just stream on chess.com. So I guess it just comes naturally to me because it's where I normally play. Do some Lead Chess streams as well, and we'll see how it goes. I can certainly test it, if we get a lot more viewers watching on Lead Chess and on chess.com, then it may be something to consider. But I mean, they're both good servers. Carl says, too strong, haha. Yeah, good game. It was fun to play against you. So, John, the Opera game, I kind of was so focused because it was a rated game, I wasn't really paying attention to the comments. But yeah, the Opera game is the one where, instead of Queen B3 in the previous game, where it's Bishop C4 and then Queen B3. But yeah, definitely a lot of similarities. Also, actually, Carl did play better than Duke of and Count Iswar did in that game. He lasted longer and defended a bit more tenaciously. So credit him for that. Christian O. Mendoza asked, can I play with you? And yeah, actually, you can play me. The way to do it is just challenge me. To make sure I'm not playing a game currently on chess.com, and then challenge me, and you'll be able to play then. Just make sure to play unrated. Charlie's now notifying me. Thank you for the notify. I saw when I said Spotify, I thought, oh, I didn't know that this was a feature. I thought that's something for me to look up, but okay, notify. Thanks for following the stream. Really appreciate the support. And it's really cool actually that I have streamers kind of supporting one another, because I think that basically what I see sometimes in other, feel maybe in your day job, for example, you have a situation where you where it's all very competitive, you're all trying to outdo one another to get the promotion or to get the credit for some idea or whatever. But what I find in my own experience is that everyone just benefits a lot more if you just collaborate and just work together. Because I know in high school, I'd have these group projects, but one person would usually end up doing nearly all the work in a lot of these groups, so it wasn't really a great experience like that. But if we kind of work together and kind of help each other, we just all are going to grow a lot faster. And of course, obviously, when, let's say, if we compare my stream, I've just started with this stream, I don't have the following of some of the bigger streamers, but I think that still my, let's say, seal of approval as a Grandmaster saying, you're doing a good job, keep up the great work, that it does still mean something and maybe give you some encouragement in the times where maybe having a bit of a slow patch or whatever. At least I hope that it can, can make some sort of positive difference. Yeah, Chai says more chess is cool for all of us. Yeah, exactly. And it's a great amount of chess, you can really enjoy it, even if you're not trying to improve, can still just sort of play for fun and just, appreciate the game with some strong players, as such. Because I know, one thing, I think it was Gotham Chess mentioned this on one of his streams that I happen to be following, where basically he mentioned, how a lot of Grandmasters, very, some sort of in the sense of, if they see someone who's, not a GM doing really well, they it's like GM, like why am I not getting like or whatever. But the reality is like that's not really what it comes down to as such. It comes down like just doing your best like to be entertaining and to just make it as enjoyable experience for people to watch as possible as such. So yeah, that's kind of like my philosophy, if you like, in that regard. So I remember Chayek was playing like New World earlier because like also kind of into some computer games. Although admittedly I don't really play them that much. I used to play them a fair bit more earlier this year, but now I'm kind of just playing chess quite a lot because I just am enjoying it a lot lately. But there are some other games I have sort of played as well. Like I think if you check my Steam profile, I think the game I've played most of all is like Age of Empires 2. But it's like nearly all of that time is from like when I was playing it like in 2018, 2019-ish. Because I kind of often I go back to these games I was like a kid, because when I was really young, my parents would sort of buy me like computer games. And I kind of would do them to activate my strategic thinking. Because often like playing games is sort of a bad rap, but actually it is kind of a good way to sometimes to kind of improve some of your thinking processes to maybe think about things in a different way. And, well, there's more I can talk about with that, but I want to also... Charlie's kind of like, Fargal gets mad, I think. I still love him, lol. Yeah, I think there was just like this stream where I think Ben Feingold like kind of called XQC this top Twitch UVC, kind of mixing up the two. And so I've said some like choice words about him. But yeah, Fargal like, definitely a very entertaining stream. Like his... Like, like sometimes, yeah, some of his comments he's got a bad rap for, but I do feel that is in the right place. He really is genuinely trying to help people improve. Just he has like a slightly, I think, sardonic way of expressing it that might sometimes be a bit misunderstood. So anyway, yeah, he's like another person like, with kind of probably deserves more views than he actually gets. But I mean, he's doing okay for himself. John Peter Strib Ribbon says Filipino power. Yeah, Filipino power. Yeah, I really like that. It's really cool. So actually, in the suburb where I lived in, like for most of my life, it's called DY in the Northern Beaches. That actually has a pretty large Filipino community compared to, let's say, like other areas of Sydney for the most part. So I kind of remember, like, I think that, in like the largest, I think, ethnic minority is like the Chinese, but in DY, probably the largest one is actually like the Filipino community. So yeah, kind of have like this sort of connection, if you like, to Philippines, like in this sort of sense. So yeah, and also we have Charlie Sardo in the house and Chess Culture in the house. Yeah, like, it really means a lot to me to see you guys like watching this stream. I know like I've watched you guys, like I've tried to do my little part to share, and I know like you being here like makes a bigger difference for me than it does me being on your stream. But I still I really appreciate it all the same. So thanks for the support. So okay, Knight G6. I can do a little pin on this knight. It's funny, like for a moment I actually thought I was playing against that Vietnamese guy raid 2500. I was just playing him again like in some sort of time. But yeah, I'm going to go Rook D8 and just mate him. So he resigns. Well, I'm number 5 on the Elite League. I think if I can play for another hour or two, I can probably get to the top 3 on the leaderboard. But you can only access it if you have like the beta feature unlocked for chess.com. But it will be basically shared with all of you guys in I think in about 2 weeks. Let's say 1 to 2 weeks as such. So, okay, I'm saying a little trap Queen D4 here, but he's going C5. This is an interesting idea. I'm going to go Bishop E3 because I'd rather have him take me than me take him and improve his bishop. Obviously, can't play Queen D4 because Bishop B5, but that could be a threat at some point. So I might want to go Queen to D2, and I'm thinking of castling long at this point to spice up the game a little bit more. Because still I've got little tricks, little discovered attacks, which are always in the air. So Knight D7, he's trying to trade off some pieces. I really want to pawn storm the guy, maybe like F4, G5, just throw things at him. He's giving me Knight C6. He's giving me Knight to C6, and I can even take his bishop. And you know what I say? You've got to respect the bishops. Got these bishops raking down that open board. Now, he is going to try to attack me on the queen side as well, but, I can go Rook G1, and I feel like my attack is probably going to be faster here, but we'll see how it pans out as I have another refreshing sip of my water. Actually, I don't think the guy is trying to beat me. I think he's just trying to play faster than me. So he can say, oh, I'm still faster than you. I'm still faster than you and your computer. I just find it so funny when he says that. Just trying to like hold back laughter whenever he says this thing. Like, it's like he doesn't realize I'm a Grandmaster or something. Thinks like I'm just some random, you know, boy in the hood in what's it called, in Sydney or in Australia. Is like, it kind of like reminds like, you know, with Eminem career, like, because obviously, you know, rap and hip hop like are predominantly, you know, black sort of genre and such. And it's like, you know, what's this white boy like doing all of these like lines trying to be in our industry, and then, you know, now he's the, you know, greatest rapper probably of all time as such. I know some will probably disagree with it, but he is a pretty awesome rapper. Of course, I mean, so busy talking about things not about the game that now I'm sort of losing my focus and just blundered a pawn. Maybe I still have good compensation because of this battery. Like, if I can get in a bishop to b2 and a queen d4, that's actually not such an easy threat for him to deal with, in fact. Because if he goes like queen g6, I can try to kick that queen away with the pawn and try to get a mate that way. So, yeah. But it feels really good to... Because, you know, this actually... The thing is, today I was meant to do this stream at like 9 a.m. and I didn't because I basically was so tired, I had like 4 hours sleep, was like so excited about, you know, getting 100 follows and getting the first stars ever, that I just completely like needed to sleep at 9 a.m. Like I just fell asleep before then as such. Like my body, you know, telling me, Max, you're pushing too hard. But then, yeah, I did the stream and now like it's sort of a good thing I timed when I did because of like the fact that I have so many more people viewing at this time. You know, and maybe that's actually something I should pay attention to. Like maybe I should do this streams at this time more often because it seems to be like a popular time for you guys. Of course, I'm talking about this now. I'm like in an ending 2 pawns down. So I'm getting the support. I'm not really playing that great, but thanks anyway for sticking around. I'm going to play g7 and like what I would really love is to teleport my rook to g7, like just jump over the pawns and just mate him like this. But unfortunately, that's not really going to happen. This might be one of these games I might just have to, you know, go for some sort of repetition. But I mean, you shouldn't really go for a repetition 2 pawns up. But, you know, I can toy with him a little bit. You know, maybe this will frustrate me, like, 2 pawns up, I should be winning. But, okay, at least we got out of that game. Now, the thing is, like, part of me wants to take, like, a 1 to 2 minute break. And part of me is like, if I do it, I'm going to lose all my viewers. So, I'm going to play another game and, you know, my bladder will just have to hang on for a bit. So, anyway. So, yeah, we have 10 viewers. Wow, it's... Ooh, we have a donation for 2 pawns down, 200. Yeah, thanks again, 200 stars from Charlie. Thank you so much for that. I think I set this goal of like 5,000 stars for this stream, and okay, we're still some way from 5,000, but it's still further along than I thought we'd be. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, when you're starting, like even just like every, in, like say you get $1, for example, like from some sort of side hustle you're doing, and it's like, okay, I've proven I actually make money from this as such. So like even like just a little bit, like it still means a lot like at this early stage for me. So again, thank you so much for the support. So 96. I mean, at some point, what would be really cool would be to figure out like what sort of benefits I should offer. Like I don't know like how it works like exactly, but I know like with the subscriptions, like there are different things where you can select different levels and you can do a what's the word I'm looking for? Like you can do like basically subscriber only streams, and that can like be really, you know, really cool as well. Because I think that's a bit more engagement than some other things like Facebook groups I've tried in the past. If Randy Pantaleon asked, can you do a Vienna opening mastery? Yeah, that's actually a good question because the Vienna, like with e4, e5, knight c3, it's actually something I have played quite a bit in streams in the past. So if you check out some of my previous videos, like you're actually going to see a bunch of games I played the Vienna, like e4, knight c3, f4, and got really good positions very quickly. It also could be a good idea for a YouTube video as well, so definitely going to keep that one in mind. Because I think Gotham Chess like did a video on the Vienna. It got like nearly 1 million views or maybe like 400,000 views. So yeah, definitely a good topic suggestion there. So thanks. Okay, I think that my only potential weakness is my pawn on d6. So what I'm going to do is at some point I'm going to put my king in the center to defend that pawn. And in the meantime, I'm just going to grab space. It's what I say on streams that if you are in a position where not a lot is happening and it's an end game and maybe you don't have an obvious plan otherwise, it's good often to think about how can you grab space with the pawns, or you know, how can you open lines for the pieces. You can see that with b4, he's just opening the line for my rook, so that's really good for me. And he's giving me good squares for my knight as well. now my rook comes into attack, and you can see that the exchange improved my position a lot more than improved his. Like a lot of players who are so advanced, they think, well, basically like they kind of think, well, okay, it's just, for example, like say we take a trade of a bishop for a bishop, they think, okay, a bishop is worth 3 points, the other bishop is worth 3 points, it's an equal trade, so I can just play it, right? But the thing is that almost always these sort of supposedly equal exchanges do favor somebody. Like if you think about an example, in this position, my bishop is probably a bit more active than his bishop. So if we were to trade the bishops, it would probably favor him a little bit. Now I see Chai said, if you think I can help you, send me a question. I'm still learning, but I can tell you what I've learned. Yeah, thank you a lot for that. I've actually been thinking of asking you different questions, but I know you've also said at different times, things like, oh, I get so many questions, that I can't reply to all of them. And, I also can relate to that, because I remember when I was doing a lot of organic marketing for my business, I, would spend so much time replying to different people. I'd feel like I spent more time responding to random questions from people than I would actually kind of helping people improve their chess, or I guess keeping people sort of entertained and enjoying chess. So that's all why I didn't want to reach out too early. But yeah, I will definitely connect with you at some point, and maybe even on your stream as well, kind of help you with your engagement, maybe ask you some, if there's any little tips you have. Because the tip you gave, about having a stream schedule, that's been, really useful. Even if I don't stick to the schedule exactly, it still gives people an idea of, when to expect to be online. So, yeah, thank you for that. So, okay, rook h8, I'll go h5. It can go rook g8. I kind of missed that he can actually... but I have rook d7, I'd be hitting him with the... That's actually really sneaky. But okay, rook g7, I'll defend. Yeah, another thing as well, with streaming, I sort of... the thing is, I hardly ever watch any chess streams. Pretty much, the only reason I guess I kind of watch the... It's sort of weird how it works, actually. Because usually, with the Facebook gaming streams, I kind of, started, watching some of the other streams on Facebook gaming, just kind of go to, okay, who is doing things what is actually working for other people, and then to try to maybe do a little bit of that myself and kind of adapt it in my own unique way. But then when I kind of start watching the stream, it's actually really fun to kind of stick around for a lot longer. That's actually how I really got into Gotham Chess's YouTube videos. I thought, okay, he's the biggest YouTuber for chess, and actually is now the biggest YouTuber for chess. And so I thought, okay, what is he doing that makes his videos kind of more engaging and more interesting than everybody else's? And maybe I can try to adopt a little bit of that in my own way for my own YouTube channel. But then I kind of watch it, these videos are actually really good. They're actually really fun to watch. And yeah, it's kind of interesting how it turns out. So Eve said, much Philippines. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, how was COVID in the Philippines? I think at some point, there was a lot of lockdowns. It was really quite serious. So, I hope that you guys are all in good health and, still doing well. So anyway, because in Vietnam, some months ago, there were a lot of lockdowns because the sort of new strain of COVID that came out. I've forgotten the name of it. I think it's the Delta variant or something, or maybe there's even a variant stronger than Delta. But basically, it was sort of meant that there were a lot of lockdowns, and the thing is, I spend time inside anyway. I'm a very, what's the way to say? I guess in the old what you call sort of a geek or a nerd, in the sense that, well, basically because of when I was it seems when I was working on chess, when I was a professional chess player, from 2012, and even before that, I was really very committed to becoming a chess grandmaster. That just was everything to me. Kind of when you have let's say children, not that I'm a parent, but just to use some sort of analogy, your child just everything to you, you do anything for them. That's kind of what the goal of the grandmaster title was for me, was just completely committed to achieving it, and that was really a big reason I was able to get the grandmaster title as such. Not beyond just talent or whatever, it was just being fully committed to whatever it takes to get there, getting the help I needed and all this sort of thing. But yeah, going back to what I was saying. So Grandmaster is what Charlie said. I guess that is Filipino for take care or good health or so forth. I guess you can correct me if I misunderstood it. But it's funny with languages, often if I can understand often up to 50% of what somebody is saying, even if it's a completely different language, just from kind of understanding the context of what it is. Because I know when I'm eating lunch or dinner with my Vietnamese family, my in-laws and such, basically, like, I can sort of figure out like a vague idea of like what the conversation, like the general direction of it, just by kind of just observing. Because like I know from like the context, like we're eating, so probably going to be talking about food. They're probably going to be talking about, like something going on that maybe they don't particularly like or whatever. Or maybe talk about like the news if the news is on. So yeah, it's kind of funny how that works. Like how sometimes you can kind of get a general idea of what someone is saying even if you don't speak the same language. But I remember like when I first met my wife, I missed the fact I can take a night, but I see it the second time. I remember like, at a time her English was not so good, so we're actually using Google Translate to communicate as such. And actually that'd be like pretty cool. I mean, it is true that like the vast majority of communication does happen, non-verbally. I think it's like 10% of human communication is verbal. But still, I mean, it's not the same thing. You can sort of use these cues against your advantage. They can help you communicate even if you don't have like let's say, a same fluent language in common. So rook b8, yeah, I'm just going to take queen my pawn and deliver checkmate one of these days. So anyway, at some point I want to rest my voice because the thing is like I'm kind of used to projecting a voice a lot from like when I was coaching, because I used to coach like a lot of kids, and the thing is like if you talk quietly, they're just not really going to pay attention to you most of the time. I mean, okay, maybe there are some exceptions. At least the students I was working with, you really had to kind of command their attention, or they just sort of disengage or lose a little bit, or lose attention a little bit. So you kind of like would have to talk somewhat like project your voice to keep their attention. So that's kind of like just what I sort of naturally do. Actually, it reminds me of another story that maybe I should have shared when there were like a lot more viewers, but maybe I can share it, as you pre-move more than I do. Good lesson. Yeah, thank you. Glad you appreciate it. Yeah, with the pre-moving, I just kind of do it out of habit. Like if I know I'm going to play a move, like no matter what they do, like if you take like the captures, for example, I mean, it's good thing I didn't pre-move e6 because he decided to do a cheap trick on me, but basically, let's say if it was, I don't know, some move like let's say you have c4, dc4 as a valid pre-move, because if they don't play c4, you're not going to execute the pre-move. So that's kind of the idea behind it as such, as a little tip to how to pre-move better. Actually, I could go knight h5 and try to go after this bishop. I'm really tempted to do that, because if he goes bishop e3, I can maybe try to tickle him with some queen h4 check, or even just bring my knight to f4. I didn't play queen h4 because I thought just knight f2, bishop 2, and I'm not sure of the follow-up. But now that I think about it, maybe I do want to provoke a weakening g3, or get my queen active. This can maybe give me some potential attacking chances to work with here. So, I mean, you can just castle. I don't really have a great follow-up, but, I'll just keep the position. I can maybe go for some minority attack on the queen side. Maybe just queen. It actually is kind of tempting to trade the queens, but I don't know. I will keep the queens on the board. The reason it's tempting to trade the queens is that if you're able to weaken their structure, that means that often trades will be good for you in that case. But okay, he's trying to get some attack going. Maybe I should have gone e5, but I can do it later, I guess. Unless he plays like something like f4, tries to stop me. a4, I think I go knight a5, and I can use the weakened square he just gave me. A lot of traditional chess is about figuring out what are the weaknesses, like what are the weak squares or the weak pawns in the opponent's position. And okay, here actually has come a very interesting out of playing rook a6, and well, it's not really an exchange sack because he ends up getting 2 pawns for the exchange. But okay, looks like he blundered it. And okay, now I'm just up in exchange. And I also have the open A file. He's kind of opened up the side of the board where I'm kind of playing on, so that also makes my play a lot more effective. So anyway, rook b1. Yeah, now I have h6, and the only way you can avoid losing the knight is if he plays queen e5, but again, when you're up quite a bit in material, it often makes sense just to trade off some pieces. It just makes it easier for you to convert the advantage that way. Like I can go f6 as well and try to open up the king side at some point if I want to. I can also go like rook b8. The reason I wasn't going to play f6 is because of knight g6, but now I might actually do it now that he's played knight e2 and put the knight on a more passive square. And I mean, I may take with the pawn. Maybe I kick his knight away at some point. Maybe I go b4 as well. I kind of like that at b4 because I guess I don't want to give him f5 for the knight. Like maybe it doesn't really matter, but I think it's good to kind of provoke these somewhat weakening moves first. Maybe I go rook a8 and try to, trade off the rooks if he moves his knight at some point. Like knight c5. Actually, knight c5 is a little more annoying than I bargained for, but I think I can still go like rook a1 and ignore the threat and do some stuff down the file. Okay, you know what? Now I might actually play e5, because now if he knights, knight moves, I actually take this guy. Longer tactics than usual, but I actually am seeing him. Okay, maybe now, like, since I'm complete winning, I can share a little story. Because I remember, like, when I was a lot younger, like, my voice didn't break the way it normally does, like, when you're a teenager, or maybe also I didn't know how to project, like, with, like, my voice. So actually, I used to kind of have this sort of weird sort of way of speaking, like, speaking not from the diaphragm, but speaking from the throat. Actually, I can sort of feel like I'm saying speak a little bit from the throat here due to, like, speaking so much. But yeah, basically, it meant, like, my voice sounded a little bit weird at some point, and I was often, like, shouting really loudly to try to keep my students' attention. I was just kind of destroying my voice in the process. So that was kind of, yeah, not so great. But then I kind of did some, like, exercise, like, actually breathing from the diaphragm, and eventually I kind of, like, got the hang of it while I was actually at a seminar in the US. Actually, it was the first seminar I ever went to in the US, actually. But yeah, it was, that's kind of the story, like, my voice. Because, like, if you'd heard my voice, like, 3 or 4 years ago, I think you can still, like, probably find some YouTube video, some old video of my old voice. Do you think, okay, there's no way this guy's ever going to, you know, be doing a stream or, like, you know, doing YouTube or just videos? But yeah, it shows, like, you know, what matters is not where you are right now, but what matters is the direction that you're going. Because if you keep moving in a positive direction, like, even if you're making really slow progress, or you feel like, you know, you're not moving at the pace you like, if you just keep at it long enough, you are eventually going to see results from your efforts. Now, my opponent's playing a very interesting way. I do also thank GM Chess Hokage, shout out, nice analysis. I'm not a GM for your information here, just a pseudonym. Yeah, actually, it reminded me of something, like, I'm not sure what move I should play here, honestly, but what it reminded me of is that there was this blogger in Australia, actually of Filipino descent, called the Closet Grandmaster. And what he did is, like, he would report on different chess news, and actually he was one of the very first people, actually, who kind of sort of recognized, like, me playing really well and sort of gave me some shout outs in his blog post for, like, having some upset wins. So I kind of have some very pleasant memories for that reason. He always, like, wrote, like, I mean, he was a very objective, like, writer in general as such, but he also kind of brought a bit of, like, humor and a bit of flair to his posts. So, like, really good. Thank you for the notify, GM Chess Hokage. Really appreciate it. So, yeah, and he actually ended up, I think, getting a journalism award from the Australian Chess Federation. So, you know, he did actually get recognised for his contributions, which is always nice to see. Admittedly, I'm not playing this very well. I kind of allowed myself to get a little bit outplayed because the knight on c3 is very annoying. Now, at least I have managed to regain the material, but he can go e5. And the problem with e5 is that he'd have ideas like trying to fork my pieces. Yeah, knight b4 is an annoying move. By the way, it's not the first time I've played this guy, so yeah. It's not the first time I had this unpleasant experience of, you know, him just playing a lot better than me. Actually, I remember I had one game against him where I, like, was just basically lost a piece in 10 or 11 moves. I was like, really? I don't make a drunk state. Chesscology has said followage. Yeah, I think the followage button, what it does, if I remember correctly, is I didn't even see it could take my pawn. I think what it does is it will kind of show how long you've been sort of following the stream as such. So you can sort of see who is the OG and who is, you know, relatively new to following it as such. So anyway, but yeah, I think that some of the commands, like, you might have to set manually. It's something I have to look into because I have a vague idea of it from, like, watching some Twitch streamers, but I think the commands might be a little bit different on Facebook gaming compared to Twitch. Now at this point, even though I'm still down a pawn, I do actually have some compensation because of my bishop pair. You know, moves like bishop d6 an hour threat, and, you know, move like bishop d4 kind of is very committal on his part. So okay, he plays knight c3. I think I can maybe go rook b to c1 is what I'm thinking, just to attack his knight. Okay, I have this weird feeling that he's going to play some sort of sneaky tactic and trick me, but I don't see it right now. Because I'm covering knight d3, I'm covering knight e2. But, you know, in blitz, knights are very tricky pieces. Like, I think, actually, there was one thing I noticed, actually, with, if you try, like, the Vietnamese chess, the way they kind of play it is they actually value the knights more than the bishops in blitz, because the knights is a much more effective flank for doing different tricks. But here the bishops are a lot better, not least because he has actually blundered a knight. I thought his idea was to play knight a4 and try to defend him that way, because then I can't hit his knight with a pawn. It's okay, he resigns, good game. And I see also Chesscology has got notify. So yeah, thanks for following the stream, we really appreciate that. Actually, I think it's following the page, but yeah, the page is a Facebook gaming page, so it's kind of the equivalent of a Twitch streaming page. I say actually I'm playing this guy again, this IM, so again see some high-level tighter player play in action. So Queen D4 is a somewhat tricky move, but I can go Knight F6 and delay the move Knight C6, because now he doesn't have options like playing for C4, for example, and we end up just getting this very mainline type position. Now he's got fast development, but I've got the bishop pair in return, and I can go Queen A5 and hit this guy, for example. So he goes Queen D2. I think I'm just going to... He wants to go Knight D4 and try to defend this way. I'm very tempted to play a move like H6. I have a feeling that it's not very good for some reason, so I might just castle, let him do Knight D4. And, okay, it's going King B1. That's kind of curious. I'll go H6 now, because I think castling for me is more useful than King B1 is for him. And if he takes and goes Queen D6, I can go Bishop... Oh, can he do this? Apparently he can. Yeah, I keep forgetting about this trick all the time. It's not the first time I've fallen for this. So now he's got a somewhat better position, but I might still have decent compensation, even though I just blundered a pawn with Knight E7 and Bishop F6 and Queen D6. Because the good thing is I do at least have the better minor piece, and I've got Rook D8 as well, which actually comes close to getting back the pawn. I think he has to go Queen B4 in order to take and to keep the pawn defended with the queen. But I can still play moves like Queen F4, and I'm still, you know, kind of tickling him a little bit, attacking. Going for Queen E5 instead, but that does give me the option to take, to go captures, 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 and then to win the pawn back. And okay, now we have this ending where, I mean, it's probably just an equal endgame, but he is threatening Rook D7, which could be a little bit unpleasant. Yeah, he's getting Rook 7. He does still have a little bit of an edge. I mean, he's going to win this pawn, I think. I'm going to have to rely on something like Rook D8 and try to get counterplay that way. By attacking his Rook with King A, I'm going to kind of force the issue. The other thing is he can meet Rook D8 with King C1. I don't really have a way to invade. So my position is still quite bad. And yeah, he sees it, but on the other hand, I have time to go A5 now. So maybe it would have been better for him to do it this way and then King C1. But okay, now I can defend. And the Rook is passive. On the other hand, we have Pawn Up Chess Club, Power from PHC, Pawn Up Chess Club, greetings from the Philippines. Yeah, greetings, great to have you on the stream. Maybe I could go Rook B6, and I want to try and get the Rook active, but it's very hard to do it because it's just stuck. Like, at some point, I will have to sack a pawn, I'm pretty sure. But I want to try to get my pawns on the best possible squares first. What I want to do is I want to try and get a position where I can play like King D8, and then, you know, get this in, but I'm just not really in time. I'm going to have to sack it somehow. Okay, if I play F5, I can at least try to get some counterplay, maybe with a pass C pawn at some stage. Or pass E pawn, I should say. Because actually, when I've got this pass pawn, it means if he ever takes, our pawns are going to be faster than his, in fact. So I'm able to survive this. We'll see how it goes. So he plays Rook B7, trying to cut off my Rook. Well, in this case, maybe I can play C5 now. I mean, it will be a pawn sack, but the thing is, I don't know if I have anything better at this stage. I feel like it's my best bet to go for this and hope that my counterplay is going to be fast enough. I mean, Rook C7 is what I think he should just do, but maybe he's thinking King C4 or Rook B5. Actually, Rook B5 could be kind of annoying. He's going Rook D7, going for Rook D5. I feel like he's maybe trying a little bit too hard to keep control, maybe, because now you give me Rook B4, and suddenly I can, you know, try to do something here. Okay, Rook D4, I didn't even see this move as possible, which is a little bit sad. So he goes B3, I'm going to take... He could play Rook E5, though, but okay, let's go E4. I need to get a pass pawn quickly here. And we're going to have this race where I'm going to be a bit behind in the race, but I can maybe try to swindle him and hope that I'm a bit sharper than he is at the end of the day. Because his H-pawn, I mean, you know, to be fair, his H-pawn could be a bit hard for him to actually catch. The problem is his pawn is also really hard to catch. Like, he can go King B2, and I have to spend a lot of time, like, playing Rook E1. Actually, it doesn't even work. He just plays Rook to G8. So, yeah, I've completely screwed up this position. And, yeah, now he's going to even win my Rook, so... I mean, I'm going to lose this game because it's played so badly. Just, yeah, really played stupidly this game. And it's not the first time I lost to the guy either, but, man, it's... How is it possible to play such bad chess? I just don't know. I have to just hope that, you know, I can swindle by some miracle. But if he plays Rook A1, I probably have nothing. Okay, so I go H3. But it probably just pushes the pawn, because, I mean, if I go H2, he just goes Rook H1. So just nothing I can really do. Yeah, you're just too slow. Ah, it's so annoying. I'm only one move away from queening as well. Just one move too slow all the time. Just playing so bad. Played so terrible this game. This Hungarian version, I had such terrible results against in the past as well. I really should actually study it. Because I should have just avoided with free knight f6. Just so many dumb things I did this game. Like, just didn't pay attention to any of his ideas. Man, I just played so badly. Why do I let him take my bishop? Just absolutely idiotic play. Like, I knew the position was good for him. I still go for it. Like, completely irrational, completely illogical and stupid. Okay, I'll play G6. Let's play it King's Indian style. Okay, maybe I'll switch to a Benoni now. I think I'm probably going to take a short break, like 1 to 2 minutes, because A, I need a bit of a rest for the throat, and B, I do want to use the restroom at some point. Oh, what's this? Oh, he mouse slipped. He meant to play Bishop E2. Well, in that case, maybe it makes sense for me to open up the center to take advantage of it. Because obviously, it was King being on castle, it makes sense to open the position. And, well, I hope they don't blunder or... Oh my god, what am I doing? I just blundered a piece with Queen D4. You've got to be kidding me. He plays King E2 and I respond by blundering a piece? Like, how stupid can you be? How freaking stupid can you be? What a complete joke. And now I have to go for some cheap tricks like E4, Rook C8. How is it possible to be such a freaking idiot? I don't get it. And see, like, I already lost all these views because now I'm, like, playing so stupid. It's so crazy. What the f*** am I doing? What the fucking hell am I doing? I mean, if Queen A7, I can go Knight B4, and actually it's still not that simple for him. I still have decent chance to swindle him at this point. But man, what a stupid blunder. What a stupid blunder. Okay, free, let's go into Rook C2. We've got some attack happening. But if he goes King E1, how do I follow up in that case? Maybe I can do something like Bishop F3, Knight E3, Queen H4 sack. But I don't know. I mean, I could play... This feels right to, to take and weaken his structure. But I go Queen H4 first. This is the difference. Because I threaten this and I also threaten Knight E3. And I might actually have some compensation. It's crazy. I blunder a full piece like a complete beginner and still like the position is still somehow okay for me. It's just completely ridiculous. Yeah, chess can be crazy sometimes like that. Okay, Knight E3, let's take a pawn. I'm going to try to go Rook D8 and threaten some Rook D1 and Queen F2 mate. Of course, White gets to make moves. If we make 10 moves in a row in some random position, obviously chess would be a very good game, but it is of course not like that. I'm expecting him to go Knight D2, but the thing is Knight D2 doesn't really threaten anything, so I can even go Rook D8 and just keep up the pressure. Or I could even play a move like Rook D2, Queen F2 and try to keep some attack that way. Actually, I have a better move. I could play Rook D2 and then I have maybe Queen D4 actually. Although it is true my knight is kind of hanging at the end. He could go Bishop D3 maybe. So maybe it's not such a great idea on further thought. Well, he's going for it and now I have the moment of truth. What move do I go for? I mean, this is very tempting, but I'm also wondering, do I have more than a draw in that case? I'm not sure if I do. But you know what? It looks beautiful. Let's just play it because it looks nice. And hope that I didn't miss something super obvious in the process. But I think that this might actually be winning for me. Because after Queen E4, Rook D8, I mean, he has no way... Oh, he doesn't have B4 because I have Knight C4, forking King and Queen. Because I didn't see this from afar. But yeah, after this game, I'm going to take like a short, few minutes break. Don't know if I'll get something to eat or not, because I'm not really feeling super hungry, but maybe a little bit hungry. And actually, I skipped breakfast today, which I'm not sure if I should really often, but I guess we could call it intermittent fasting. So anyway, I guess one last thing, I used to think if I just kind of throw a fit that I would get a lot more views because people like to see someone melting down on camera, but maybe that's not true. Maybe actually you get more views if you keep your composure, because I think, why is Max suddenly shouting? So... Although actually, I remember when I was posting on YouTube, there was a time where someone was like, oh, you're shouting, when it's like, dude, I'm not shouting, I'm speaking normally. Australians just have a strong accent. H3. Yeah, H3 was a blunder. Yeah, you're right about that. If you play Knight D2, you'll probably just win the game. But H3 is kind of natural to try to break the pin. Alright guys, it's time for a short break. So I'm just going be back in a couple of minutes. Also, remember that you can support the stream by giving stars. I will shout you out when that happens. So, yeah, just be back in a minute or two. And, enjoy your chess in the meantime. All right. Okay, guys, I am back. Just wearing an invisibility cloak from Harry Potter. Unfortunately, everybody left as I was taking my break. So yeah, I was kind of worried it happened, but yeah, I mean, it wasn't many people were watching anyway. So what to do? I think what I'm going to do is how many more games am I going to play? I think I do actually want to play a bit more because I mean, I think somewhat close to the leaderboard, like on the top three for chess.com for the league. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check out to see what the top three positions are, like how far away I am from getting the top three. Because the reason I want to get in the top three for the Elite League is that the top three qualify for the Champion League, which is the second highest league. And also, like when I was looking in the fridge, I was trying to get some yogurt. There wasn't any there, but I did find like this orange juice, which I can't show to you because I was just going to tip, but it really tastes good. It's very nice and natural. So yeah, it really makes me really sharp. So yeah, like at the moment, the third place, like 1872. The one with the most points from Australia is a player who actually has 2,502 trophies. So it means like I don't think I'm going to win this league unless I like just binge play for like 12 hours non-stop or something. Maybe that can be an idea, like, if like say I get 5,000 stars in like a 24-hour period, maybe I do like a 12-hour stream or something as thanks. I don't know. I don't want to really commit to this sort of thing because, I might have some things on at the time, but I guess it's a way to maybe try to incentivize you guys a bit more to support with some starters. And if I get a certain milestone, I will do this sort of thing in return. Because when I got 100 followers, I decided to actually do like a commentary stream where I did some commentary on the games from round one of the FIDE Chess called Grand Swiss, which by the way you can actually check if you go to my Facebook gaming page, which I do have linked in the description. You can go there and you can actually like see that commentary later after this stream. So you may want to do that at some point. So yeah, it's taking a very long time to get a blitz game for some weird reason. So let's try getting a bullet game instead. And yeah, I got a bullet game like instantly against 2-3-3-5 guy. Let's play kings in the attack, something nice and thematic. Just very solid. Go c4. Just trade. It's a very basic position. Go knight e5. Just trade stuff. Or e6, knight c6. Bishop f4. Just develop the pieces naturally. He could go knight h5, but I'm going to gamble that he doesn't, or even if he does, then it's not that big of a deal that I have the dull pawns. I'm not going to pre because bishop g4 could have been annoying, but he doesn't do it. Okay, now go knight a4 and threaten some forks, which he doesn't see. I'm not going to pre because he might blunder the queen instead. Okay, take, just capture everything, queen c2. And we can sort of see he's just blundering material because he can't keep up with the speed. f4 is a bit too committal, but I can keep it safe. Can keep it cool. Oh, I could have gone bishop d5, but that's a bit risky in bullet. And he just blunders a pawn, and actually more than a pawn because I'm hitting this guy as well. And I'm going to take it after he defends his bishop. Yeah, take. Going to take here. And I mean, he's just completely dead. And I'm still playing super fast. How cool is that? I can even go e4 at this point. Just play for tricks. Because if he takes me twice, I'll take his bishop on d8 at the very end. So e5. I could have gone rook a7. I might do it now. Try to get this sort of thing in. And he just blunders the bishop. And I mean, then it's pretty straightforward. Like, you can pretty much pre-move this to victory here. Like, my rooks can come in or something. Okay, so actually, wow, I spent, 13 seconds to play 32 moves. So that means I played, like, faster than, two moves a second. That's pretty cool. Maybe it's a good moment for me, like, actually to check, see the comments. Maybe some of you guys will come back and want to say something. But whenever you're watching on YouTube as well, make sure to comment. Maybe with, the favorite game you played, or maybe if you have any burning chess questions or something that came up, like maybe there was some move I played in a game, like, okay, like at this time, so like, why did you play this move? Or what if they played that move? Or why didn't you play this move instead? And, maybe I can give you an answer if I see it. It's sort of funny because it's now started being like the, playing the Pomnishi's opening stream, but I haven't really played his openings that much, in fact. So anyway, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess I can always change the title of the stream later if I want to, and just call it like, we're breaking records. Okay, so queen c8, yeah, I'm just going to go knight h4, just harass. Like, this Chepanenko line is quite solid for black, but the one disadvantage of it is that if you're just able to win the bishop pair like this, you just get a very nice advantage. I think bishop f4 is what you're meant to do, maybe h and bishop f4, just so you're not getting your bishop harassed by knight h5 for the most part. His best plan is to kind of go for bishop d8 and try to trade off my bishop. That's what I sort of expect him to do around this point. But maybe I can anticipate that as well. Okay, now I'm going to just hack his king. Like h4, g4, h5, g5 is a very typical plan. when I've got that pawn there on g6. Now, I could play something like... I'm actually thinking how I want to play this, because he's going to go bishop g7, and I want to try to respond to it in the best way. I think the best way is just to take and play f4, so that he doesn't have e5 available. Now, he can play b6 and go for c5. That might give him some decent play, but I still feel like my play on this side of the board is going to be a bit more significant. That's my feeling. Let's have another sip of this lovely drink. You should take him with the queen to hit this guy, because now I can do h5. And my attack is faster than his, because when I play f4, the idea is that he can't go g5, except actually he could have, because of queen g3, and that would have been not so clear actually, but now it all works for me. I get the open h file for the attack, and I mean, knight e4 is just, I think, a bit too optimistic here. I'm actually considering, like, both of these moves look super tempting at the moment. I think this is the better way, because the only way to defend the pawn is f5, but then I can either split up his whole structure so he has, like, 4 to 5 pawn islands, or I just, you know, take his pawn for free like this and just win. And I mean, my plan is going to be, like, well, okay, he's playing f5. I think I have queen h1. Very creative idea to go g6 and rook h8 mate. I want to cut the king off from running like this as a gym boy. Hey, we have 5 viewers again. Great to have you guys on board. And okay, I think you just didn't see the move g6, which kind of forces mate. Queen a5 is go king f1, and there's no real follow-up check, unfortunately, for him. But anyway, good game. So, okay, let's see. Wow, I had like, I think this will break the record for comments. I had like 56 comments. Wow, 14 shares. That's easily a record for shares. So, yeah, I just want to again just thank you guys for the support. It does... I know I say it a lot, like I say it so much you might think like it's just a cliche, but I do really mean, like, just really happy that, that people appreciate the time and the effort that I put in, because, you know, there are so many cases like in life where you put a lot of energy, you put a lot of time, and you'll put a lot of emotion into something, and you just don't get the returns, like you just don't see any real results for it, and it can get a bit frustrating. So just seeing that it does make a big difference, knowing that what I'm doing is actually worthwhile and is making a positive difference, like not just to 1 people or 2 people, but actually to a decent number of people. So one of the big motives we really get into streaming is that with streaming potential you can reach more people than like almost any other sort of medium as such. I mean, yeah, I'm sure in theory, I mean, you could, for example, have like some course that like goes viral, like you run Facebook ads, and if the ads are properly, you just reach more and more people that way. So yeah, there are definitely ways other than streaming to do it, but I think with streaming, it's only one of the more organic ways to really reach a lot of people at once. And I mean, I know like the word like influencer kind of has sometimes gets a bad rap nowadays, but I think that, you know, influencers are very important, and certainly, you know, I think that, well, what I have to say can be at least of interest to people, that it's not just like just any GM, but I do feel like I can somewhat relate to you guys to some extent, because, you know, it's not like I had like was just born with all of the opportunity as such, and there were a lot of difficult circumstances in my childhood that I also had to overcome, on top of, you know, getting to the actual ability of playing a Grandmaster, a lot of other life things that happened as well on that journey to what also made me stronger as a person. So in any case, and it's sort of weird actually, like when I think about it, because, you know, you might think, okay, maybe the GMs like have a secret club where they all like hang out together and this sort of thing. If there is, well, I don't know of it because I'm not a part of it, and quite frankly, I think I probably enjoy, on average, talking more to like the, you know, let's say like the average club player that I do to a Grandmaster, and that might be a bit unusual among GMs, but I just, you know, I just find like, you know, just kind of enjoy it more. Like it's sort of, I think maybe it's because like I sort of feel like if I'm talking to a Grandmaster that I'm sort of feel like I have to talk about chess with them, and they kind of often cut the conversation short in that case, like quite abruptly. Whereas I feel like talking to a average like player, let's say, I can sort of talk more naturally, maybe a bit more sort of generally, just kind of like be myself, and like if I talk about some random topic, it doesn't seem kind of weird, I guess. But anyway, I don't know, speculating here. And it's also been quite a while since I actually talked with GMs, so that might also be a factor. You know, for a second I thought I actually heard some star donation, but for some reason it's not coming for me. Okay, he resigns up to 1,000 trophies, so we're getting close to the top 3. Okay, yeah, he actually didn't even wait for me to take his queen. That's kind of funny. Sandman, is that like a reference to Enter Sandman from Metallica? That's a really good song. Like, Metallica is my favorite heavy metal band. Because I think of, like, bands like Hollywood Undead are more like hybrid ones, and there are other bands like this sort of sort of metal, like, System of a Down is, and I really play like a sort of metal band, but they're not like the same as Metallica. They have their own very unique way of, of doing their music. Actually, Sound's another one of the bands, also one of my big favorite ones. But yeah, basically, yeah, the thing is with like C6 that I remember learning from one of my friends, like an National Chess Correspondence Federation Senior National Master, Wolf Morrow. He actually said that E6, it looks kind of silly because you end up with this, basically you end up with this position, a King's Indian attacker tempo down, because they normally should play C5 anyway. But it's actually one of the better ways to deal with this D3 system. Like, while it doesn't get that much of an objective advantage if he plays like C5, knight C6, just plays a tempo down. The way he's playing it now, though, his knight on B8 doesn't have a good square. It can only move to A6, and so if I just play like knight E4 and put a knight on D6, white is just going to be a tremendous amount better here. So rook D1, rook against the queen is a good middle game plan. And often you just play H4, H5, H6 in these positions, and I mean, if they play H6 to stop it, then you kind of get a little bit of a hook where you can maybe even potentially one day go for some sack on H6 and open up their king. So I'm going to play B3 just to kill his knight. Maybe keep some of my options open, knight D6. Like, normally you don't want to trade the minor piece this position, but it's okay if you're trading a good minor piece as for a not as good one of yours. Because what matters is not the piece that are traded, but the piece that are left behind. And we can see here that as a result of this trade, that now he's super weak on the dark squares, which manifests him basically losing knight to the pin at this point. Because he really shouldn't have played bishop d7. And I mean, now I'd expect him to resign. Yeah, he does resign. Let's play a new 3-minute. I think it was a decent quality game on my part. Only one mistake according to auto analysis. Okay, let's see. Taking a bit of time to get another game here. I mean, I guess one thing I can consider, like when I want to take a break on the stream, I know what I should do actually. It's an idea I picked up from other streams. I can have like it's change like the window where it maybe plays. I would maybe just play some music while I wait for it. And I noticed I'm getting a lot more views now that I'm not actually playing music on the stream. So that's something I can definitely learn from. I mean, it could just be a coincidence, maybe because I've just been seeing more and more people know about the stream. But yeah, either way, I will take it. Okay, let's play 1 minute. It's taking too long to get a 3-minute game. So yeah, I get a 1 minute game instantly. Okay, let's just play some mainline. Just knight c6, open Sicilian. I do pretty well the accelerated dragon. I played a lot in the past. It's one of these systems that's really effective below 2000 level because you can pretty much just play the moves like just very thematic. Like you play this against almost everything. You go d5, don't play bishop c4 and you're already better. I mean, you'd be surprised how many club players like below 2000 like will just let me get in d5 in one move and just have a massive advantage out of the opening. It's really quite incredible. So that's one reason why I remember in the past I recommended the accelerated dragon to quite a few of my private students. But the thing is, like, it was kind of weird. Like, the ideas were very straightforward, but I would keep, like, playing d6, so they keep playing moves like e5, and I just never, for the life of me, kind of understood why. Like, if I told them, like, just don't play move e5, they would still, like, do it anyway. And it doesn't matter how good a coach you are. What's going to determine most of the results is actually how good the student is and, like, what the student is kind of doing outside of the lessons. And that was actually one reason why I kind of stopped doing private coaching, like coaching students one-on-one, because I just realized, like, it wasn't bringing them the results for the most part. Or if it was bringing the results, it was kind of like because outside of the lesson, not to as much the lesson itself. Like, the thing is, coaching, I find, works best if you're already putting a massive amount of time into it. Like, when I was having private lessons with Grandmaster Ian Rogers or with any of my other coaches, like, I was spending many hours a day on chess. That meant that when we had the lesson, I'd already been thinking about chess for a long time, and I already had a lot of questions to kind of ask them as a result. So it meant that I really got this very direct feedback, not just on my thought process, but also on the way I was kind of studying, so I could basically train a lot more effectively. But the thing is, that's very much the exception. Like, a lot of what I see, like, most people do with private lesson, of course, there are a lot of exceptions, but a lot of them kind of try to use the private, like, 1 hour lesson a week or whatever they do as a kind of substitute for actually working on their chess. But chess is not one of these sports where you can just spend 1 hour a week and expect to improve significantly. Also, I see quite a few comments. I want to catch up. Ria De Los Santos says, good afternoon, GMX. Yeah, good afternoon. I think it's afternoon for me here and afternoon Philippines as well. I don't know 100% sure if you're in the Philippines, if I just made a wild guess. Lovely Velata Pacifican said idle. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. He also said notify. Thanks for following the stream, Ria. Really appreciate it. And following. Also, lovely Velata Pacifican Dragon player. Yeah, I mean, Dragon it's a good opening to play in Blitz. I mean, you just get this very easy development. Like, you can't at least know, like, what your first 10 or so moves are going to be. So that can often give you a nice time advantage to start the game. So, yeah, Dragon, very decent opening for this time control. And even for slower time controls, actually. Like, it is... If you want to get into the Sicilian, I think the Dragon is one of the better openings to start playing. Especially the Accelerated Dragon, where you delay D6 and sometimes go D5 in one go instead, like I played in that previous game. I mean, I played it quite a lot. Like, the thing is, like, let's look up my games and let's say, you know, you want to see what games I've played in your opening. You can actually do it very easily. You can just go to, okay, it's not showing at the moment, but I'll show you after this game. You can basically go to the Explorer. You can type in, like a player's games. You can type in Illingworth, and it'll just bring up all the games I've played on chess.com, and you can just see for yourself, like, what lines I've played. You're going to see that I play virtually every kind of opening, you know, known to mankind as such. At least until, like, at least 1%. I think, like, of all the... If you take, like, the range of openings I sort of play relative to the number of games I played, I probably have the broadest opening repertoire of almost any Grandmaster. I'm not 100% sure, because actually when I looked at, like, the, like, repertoires of some of the other top Blitz players, they also... It gave me the inspiration of, you know what, I want to... be like the Grandmaster, like, plays a wider range systems than any of the other, like, GMs as such. You know, just kind of as a fun thing. It kind of reminds me actually back when was I, like, around 2008, I sort of was in a little bit of a rut with my chess. I was, like, not improving that much after having, like, a massive improve, like, 400 points or so in 2007, where I went from, like, a 1900 national ranking to over 300 national ranking. Just absolutely crazy. I was working a lot on my chess, and I was also when I started working with Grandmaster Ian Rogers, so that definitely had a big impact as well on my improvement too, to work with a GM. I worked with FIDE International Master, and they were really great coaches, of course, but if you have to choose between, like, an amazing coach who's a GM and an amazing coach who is who is not a GM, obviously a GM will give you that slightly more advanced level of understanding, like, just in general. So that kind of just makes sense. It's all, like if you could work, like, let's say, with someone with my coaching ability rated 2,500 or someone with my coaching ability rated 2,800, then, yeah, obviously you'd pick the 2,800. Like, it just makes sense. Except, of course, the 2,800 would probably charge you, like, in reality, like, $1 million a year. Because I know, like, Gary Kasparov, actually, I think his rate was, like, $1 million to work with him for 1 year, and I think only Carlson Nakamura took him up on that offer as such. Well, I guess Nakamura became the greatest Blitz player of all, well, one of the greatest Blitz players of all time, so the highest rate ever on chess.com. And Carlson, of course, now probably the strongest chess player of all time and a reigning world champion. So I guess you could say it was maybe a useful investment for them, even if they didn't keep working with him for a long year. But anyway, I guess, yeah, a lot of stories about, like, coaching and, you know, this sort of thing. Because I find, like, with coaching, like, there are so many elements of chess coaching that I think are, like, maybe not fully understood. Like, one example I think is often is the element of, like, mental health and coaching. Because I do think that when you're putting all your energy into serving other people, but you're not taking time to look after yourself, that can lead to some very serious sort of issues in the long term as such. And also, I think another thing as well, like, is that, you know, often I think, like, about coaches supporting the students a lot, but often you don't have a lot of cases coaches get support. Like, I know, like, something like maybe some of you have seen, you know, case for example of memes. I'm a person who coaches, and they get a bit of a bad rap for it, but it actually, I think, is a very important role, in fact, to have someone who can support coaches and not just, you know, have them just kind of do it all on their own. Because, like, even though you're working with different people privately, one-on-one coaching can be a bit of a lonely journey if you feel like your students are not really appreciating you, or if you feel like your students are not getting results and you just don't know what you can do about it because the responsibility ultimately falls to them. And, you know, at some point you just have to let them kind of do things at their own pace, even if it's not really giving them maybe the value that perhaps they would be expected to get for, like, the rate you charge. But anyway, I'm now taking this pawn, or even better, taking his knight. I've played this guy so many times, he might be one of my most common opponents by now. I'm going to take his pawn, put my knight into an outpost, and then the win will be quite straightforward, I think. I can put this here. I think, I thought I had a new message. Okay, it's been a little bit of time. It's fine, I can wait. And, you know, I might say, like, that meme, you know, it's like, what is it? Like, there are a lot of different versions. Like, an example would be something like, okay, go on. You can try show me. I think I'm already bungling it, but like the journey is like an example would be, yeah, show me evidence that the Earth is flat. I'll wait. Like that. Kind of funny. I guess imagine if this was a large channel, it'd probably be someone here like from the phone saying like, what are you talking about? Of course the Earth is flat. How dare you be a naysayer? Yeah, they're probably used to it anyway. Like, in their own little universe. Okay, I get this opponent again. Let's go e4. Let's try to play like Nepo. Because I've been forgetting to do that for nearly this whole stream. I have no idea what Nepo does against the peers. He does like f4 or bishop e3. I honestly don't know. Okay, let's go knight f3. And okay, I want to play rook g1. I really am in love with this system in the last year or two. So I'm just defending. Okay, he stops g4, but I still develop. Ooh. Man, that ice is strong. Like, it's a little bit weird like that. I sometimes like to just chew on the ice just to, kind of wake up my brain or something. It does actually taste quite decent, this water. Or solid water anyway. So king b1. I might go knight b3 next move, actually. Because I want to trade off his knight, I think. I mean, knight doesn't look that great, but it is slightly annoying. And I mean, now I can maybe try to push in the center at some point. I was thinking bishop c4, but he always has b5 all the time. So maybe I'll put a bishop on... It feels weird, but I'm going to put it on d3 and maybe try to go for e5 like this. But I think also might try this castle short. So I'm going to go h3 and go g4. If he stops at h3, I go bishop g5, and now this pawn is a weakness. So even though he stopped g4, for the most part, he still has given me something here. Given me a little something to work with, as we have now 6 people following the stream. It's crazy. Like 1 or 2 days ago, if I had seen when I saw 6 people follow, I'd be like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I have so many people, and now... Like, I'm having, like, way more than 6 people follow. So I'm just like, yeah, 6, 7 is just kind of normal. It's kind of actually one thing, like, it's sort of the... I'm trying to remember the technical term, but kind of like the square or, like, the numbers trap. It's kind of like, when people sort of say, oh, when I have $1 million, then I'll be happy. Or then I'll be, like, totally satisfied and I'm not going to, like, bother with anything ever again. But then I was like, when you get to that $1 million, okay, I'm not speaking from personal experience because I'm not a millionaire yet, but... The point is, like, when you get there, like, you're always going to be, like, thinking, like, what's that next level? Like, you're never going to be completely satisfied until you, like, have that sort of mental shift of, okay, I'm just going to choose to be satisfied and to be grateful in this moment. Which is something that people sometimes underestimate. Like, they sort of are so busy worrying about other problems, they just don't show that appreciation for what they already have as such. Like, this is the reason why, like, you can have a case where someone can be very wealthy and can be very unhappy because they're just unappreciative for what they have. Whereas you might have someone who like is almost completely broke, but they're very happy because they really appreciate what they have. It's not to say that there's, let's say, like this relationship between happiness and wealth, like in an inverse way or anything like that, but it shows that, that money doesn't automatically equal happiness if you're not already grateful for what you have as such. Kind of find this randomly turns into like a, financial mindset stream, but the thing is that actually I do have a online seminar I'm actually attending it's actually starting on my birthday on November the 5th, where basically on that, it's actually on this topic, like of how to have a good financial mindset for abundance, because, it just makes sense, like, the more revenue that's coming, for example, like, the more I can give back to you guys, from, running different events, from having different, like, sponsorship deals, like, it just all will allow me to do more features for you, so it just all is for a really good cause as such. So, anyway... I think in this position, I feel like my position is probably better, but I also think I should be a little bit careful. I'm going to start with rook a7 because I want to attack his weak pawn. And these other guys are pretty well defended at the moment. So anyway, he goes rook c5. Let's go b4. Okay, I blundered that he can take this pawn, but luckily I've got rook c7. And my outside pass pawn is sort of a long way away from his pieces then. So I go g3. I just keep control, rook d3. And just steadily advance my pawn majority forward. Often that's a good policy in the endgame. Just push your past pawns and things will be good. Actually, I should play b3. His king e7 move gave me a little trick that if he takes, I could then take the pawn and win the bishop with the fork. But now I can take this way. And even though he gets my pawn on g3, he's not really in a position to stop my pawn queening. Unless I'm missing something like b6, king d8. Maybe you can try this. That might not be so clear-cut for me. Maybe I should play rook d4. Like, rook d4 looks super anti-positional, but it is good if I can trade his rook, if possible. But yeah, position is not as clearly dominating as I had thought. But maybe I can go rook c... he has 95. Okay, but maybe I can play... yeah, it's not so easy. Okay, let's go rook d4. I think it's a good move. I just have a good feeling about it, even though I have nothing really to prove it. But I think trading the rook and going for this is going to be very hard for him to stop. Because king d8, I go rook c6. And suddenly I'm threatening to go b7, and then rook c8, and basically queen my pawn. And he's not really in a position to stop it at the moment, because his bishop is just totally out of position. This is why I'm going for the queen pawn, not taking the pawn. Okay, he's defending it anyway, but now... Actually, here I have a better move than b8 equals queen. If you want to, you can make a comment here and see if you can find the winning move. Like, b8 is winning, but there's a much more winning move than this. And that's the move rook c7, where I just take his knight, and then... Well, actually, now I can even queen the pawn, because he didn't get out of the pin. But yeah, this just is dead one. I can actually just pre-move every move to mate almost at this point. Queen g8. If I put everything on the light squares, his bishop will never be able to target it. Can he just take and... Okay, it's not stalemate. He has one square. Okay, I'll just take his pawn. I don't know why he's playing on it. He's just rage quitting at this point. And yeah, just mate him. Actually, I can slow roll it a bit just for laughs. Okay, let's see what comment he has to say. Say, "You are an evil Australian cheater. How dare you disgrace the GM?" He said cheating again at the end. Now he's changing his story saying, "Oh, you weren't cheating the whole game. You were only cheating at the end of the game." Dude, I was out playing you up down the board the whole time, I'm pretty sure. Actually, to be fair, maybe like when I end up like having those two pieces for a rook trade, maybe then it wasn't so clear, but yeah, it was still a pretty convincing win for me, I think. I'm not going to analyze it. Like, I remember like in earlier streams I did the games after playing them, and maybe I'll go back to it at some point, but I think this one I just want to play a lot and get those points on the leaderboard. When they bring back like the leagues in a normal mode, like when you have like out of beta mode, when I'm like in the wood league and can get, you know, the points like really quickly, you know, at that stage, you know, I might, you know, say, okay, whatever, I'm just going to, you know, I'm just going to like analyze some of the games well. It actually didn't play bishop e3 because obviously I'm not going to repeat the moves against someone much already below me, no offense. But okay, now knight f3 is sort of a weird move. Like, normally they go knight e2 and they try to play for some g4, g5, or they go knight b3 and try to get an f4 break. But this is just a very passive approach by my opponent. Actually, it's one reason why the knight off works really well at actually all levels of play, because it's just very easy to go for this harmonious setup where you put pressure on e4, and you can see now he already just blundered the pawn, the knight takes e4. Though, to be fair, maybe he was losing the pawn anyway because of some b4 attacks. But yeah, you can see, like, I just played normal moves. I just played the moves following the standard setup. I'm just a pawn up for nothing because my opponent put his pieces on the wrong squares and wasn't very sharp to the tactics. I'm going to play knight d7 because I want to keep a good grip over that d5 square, and I also prepared d5 and, you know, kick that bishop around and such. I mean, we've got to be pretty close to the 2-hour mark around now, right? Do have to be a bit careful. This pawn's a little bit weak. I don't have an easy way to defend it. Because if I move my knight here, he takes this guy. So even though it looks anti-positional, I might have to play e4. And e4 is not as bad as e4, because I do have the d3 square for the knight, which is very, very annoying for him, in fact. And I can also support f5, f4 once I get that knight into that d3 outpost. I actually like sink it into the outpost, like kind of sinking your teeth into some of that lovely, juicy steak. So succulent. Okay, so it goes bishop g4. It is allowing me to take a pawn with knight c4, bishop g5, knight b2 if I want to. But I think I actually want to keep control over the position more instead. It's not give me any counterplay with knight f5 or whatever. So okay, I'm going to play f5 now. He can go back if he wants, but I'll just play knight d3. Now with knight c4 is somewhat tempting, but I'm going to play knight d3. I'm going to stick to my original plan. And the only way I can realistically deal with that knight is if he maneuvers his knight to attack it. But that takes a lot of time, and in that time I can, you know, try set up maybe some mastery on this diagonal, for example, which is why I played the move of bishop to d6. So he's trying to trade it off. Let's just keep the bishop, because my bishop is better than his knight. The board is just open. And we have about 8 viewers total, and yeah, good to have some more people joining in the stream, getting a bit of popularity as I take his free bishop, and he's probably going to resign relatively soon. Okay, this guy's more of a fighter. He's got spirit, as they say in what Monty Python, Life of Brian, because like basically this character like Pontius Pilate, and like he basically knows all his R's like W's. So if you were saying road number runner, he would say like whoa runner. I always, like when I was like a teenager, it always like made me laugh. Like even now, I still find it like kind of amusing, this sort of his speech impediment. I mean, like, I know, like, there are some people, like, who have actual speech impediments, and, you know, I mentioned before how I actually, like, how I had problems with my voice in the past, you know, where I was, like, speaking not from the diaphragm for many years of my life. But anyway, yeah, so, like, you know, the Monty Python, they had a way of these very serious subjects, like, you know, like, for the Life of Brian, for example, is about the, you know, the death of you know, Jesus Christ, but sort of they did in a way where kind of, like, you know, something that might be maybe a bit dry or boring, they kind of made it kind of fun and amusing in a way. You know, I think at some point, you know, if you take everything too seriously, you sort of lose some of the fun of life, you know. So I'm threatening knight f2 fork as well as knight b2, and okay, you stop the lesser threat. So okay, now I take, and yeah, just win. So let's play a new 3-minute game. And how many times I played this guy? Honestly, don't know. Okay, I'm letting him go e4 if he wants to, and he's probably going to do it. Okay, d4 is kind of weird. But against this Stonewall, I have a lot of extra options. I can go knight h6, for example. And I do knight 6 at times you can trade off their bishop when it goes to d3, because that's like the best square for the bishop normally. But then I can go bishop d5 and sort of trade off my bad bishop for his good bishop, and kind of leave him, like, if I take with this bishop just doing nothing. And I can go like knight d7. You know, I can even bring the knights around this way just to dominate this square. Maybe I'll go c5 because I want to try to dissuade him a little bit from playing e4 in this position. So knight e5, I could just play f6 and kick it if I really wanted to. I think I'm going to play rook c8 first because I just want to make sure my pawn's protected, and then maybe think about, you know, giving the knight the boot. Yeah, now like e4 I think is kind of a bit of a weird timing, quite frankly. Because what's going to happen is now we have this isolated queen's pawn position. That pawn on d4 doesn't have a buddy to defend it. And what that means is that now this pawn is kind of a bit of a target. Like I can even play knight f6, for example. And if he takes me, I take him back. And I actually don't really mind trading off his weakness there, because sort of I get an attack on his king. But now, I mean, I just have complete grip over the dark squares. Like, knight d5 and queen d5 are both very tempting. It's hard to choose between them, quite frankly, because they both look quite good. But my intuition is telling me maybe queen d5 is a little more effective, because I can still put my knight into e4 and maneuver it this way. And it also can help out rook d8 and trying to attack this pawn this way, for instance. I mean, he has to play bishop c3. That's a very passive square for his bishop. I could go knight e4, I could go e6, I could go b5. There's just a lot of very natural moves at this point. But I'm going to play e6 and just kind of keep everything nice and defended. It wouldn't surprise me if he does something like g4 and lash out, but moves like g4 only really just weaken the position. They don't really help that much, I think. Now, one really creative idea with knight e4 is I can go knight b6, d6, and try to put some pressure on the queen side with the knight. Yeah, so now he goes g4, and unfortunately I don't have any knight d4 tactics, but I can keep maneuvering. I can go f6, and actually then this knight would be trapped if he doesn't do anything about it. So he might go g5 to try to deal with it, but apparently not. He just wants to give up his knight, or rather he just blundered this. I mean, to be fair, like after takes knight, he does get 2 pawns for the piece, but it's nowhere near enough. Maybe this is his idea. He's saying that he's going to get the piece back with tactics. But what if I go a5 first, so try to force the bishop to choose a side, and then if takes his knight is still trapped anyway. I mean, he can play the bishop back to d2, but then I can just recycle and I'll win the piece anyway. So unless he has some very clever idea, like maybe sacking the exchange of rook e4, he is just going to lose a full piece. Actually, rook e4 doesn't even really help, to be honest. He still loses a piece no matter what he does. Man, I've actually lost count how many follows I have. Like, I'm probably going to check against me like something crazy, like 150 follows. Okay, so bishop c5, I believe I can just take. And, you know, f takes, I've got knight c5 to get out of it. And actually I even win a piece that way. Would it be more precise, I win 2 pieces because I already won one beforehand. Queen g5, let's play aggressive, like knight d3. Give him a little bit of a nightmare. Rook e2, I could take the pawn, but I want to keep the initiative and keep the attack on his knight instead. Because if the knight moves, I can then take his pawn on d4 with a check, and e5 collapses then as well. Okay, he doesn't see it. And now, like, watch a guy, like, accuse me of cheating around this point. It's going to be pretty funny. But he does it, like, when he's one move from getting mated for some weird reason. Okay, now we mate him. Okay, go on. I dare you. Say your words, like, say your chat and say, "You dirty cheater." Oh, he says, "Good engine." Oh, thank you. My brain is working very well today, you see. It's a very powerful engine. Maybe it can be like the Eminem song. It's like, little engine go, little engine go, little engine go. Actually, I've forgotten the lyrics of it now because like, I haven't listened to the song enough, but it's a pretty funny song. Like, just, it's some diss. Actually, I forgot which rapper he was dissing. It's kind of like, you know, most of the rappers out there, they're not even like worth remembering the name, or like they're not even worth writing a diss track for Eminem because he's just so far ahead of him in skill and in fame and money and everything else. But anyway, I'm not getting a blitz game, so let's try a bullet game. Remember, guys, you can challenge me as well. Just go to players, go to bullet, find my username Illingworth, and then you can challenge me from there. So D5. Yeah, D3 is a weird move, but I'll go knight F6. And just, take the center is the plan. Yeah, D4 is kind of weird. He's playing like this. Actually, he's playing like a Scandinavian, basically, but where he's a tempo down. He took 2 routes to get this in, and now the problem is I have knight B6, and I hit the bishop, but I also discover the attack on his pawn, because I'm attacking it twice, and he's only defending it once. So, yeah, good life for me. Oh, he's giving up the bishop. Yeah, that's too bad for him. Probably a mouse slip on his part, to be honest. I'll just take everything. Take. Okay, just take the queen. Okay, the guy's obviously trying to lose now. Okay, let's just castle. It's bullet. Maybe that's why he's not resigning, because he's, just dragging the game out for some reason. Wants to torture us all. Anyway, we go bishop. Well, actually, I could take the free bishop. Why not do that? Go here. Oh, I could go queen h1. So we're going to blunder the rook, or not. Okay, I can mate him one way or the other. Like this, like rook e8 or bishop c5 first. Bring all the pieces in the attack. Rook e8, okay, queen c1's mate, next move. Okay, that was pretty easy. Let's find another game. How do they have any viewers? I think, okay, I'm at number 4 in the league at the moment, but I think getting number 3, what will I need? I think I need like maybe 100 more trophies or something. Okay, I've got another bullet game. I should have gone knight c3, but this is fine. Okay, now he's just a tempo down on a check Benoni, which allows me to play more aggressively, like f4, knight f3, just put the pressure on him. Just castle or something. Queen e1, queen g3. These are all very thematic plans in the position. Okay, queen g3, I can pretty much pre-move it. Attack this guy, threaten castles, bishop h6, which he does not fall for. But his position is still very, very bad. g5, I just take his pawn or something. Okay, bishop e6, rook f1. I'm keeping an eye out for g5, this one I'm not pre-moving. Just hovering the mouse over the move. Could go like a5 or something. Position is kind of solid, however. Maybe I can provoke a weakening g6 though. But he's not taking the bait. Okay, now I'm going to actually switch over to the queen side, in fact. It's going to be the better avenue of attack now, just king is situated over there. Go rook h2. You can do knight g5, it doesn't do anything. You can go queen g4 and bring the queen back this way or something. Queen f3, maybe I go b4 at some point. Or queen d1. Go a5. I want to kind of fix his structure if possible. Yeah, now he just blunders a knight, so now it's pretty easy. And my plan would be like rook c2. Okay, I mouse slip, but it doesn't matter when you're a piece up. Go queen e2, rook c2, b4, c5, hack attack. Hack. Actually, it reminds me of like a little meme in the Melbourne Chess Club. They have like this sort of player they call like nickname Hakakovic as such, because like guys from I think Yugoslav region originally. So yeah, take the pawn. Yeah, he's just dead. Now he's getting desperate. Can even pre-move this, and he flags. Okay, so that was a few. Why is the video not showing? Maybe it's just on my end. Anyway, let's find another game. It says server starts in 40 minutes. Interesting. And actually, we've gone, I think, a bit over the 2-hour mark, so that's good news. Managed to keep a bit of staying power for this stream. So c4. Actually, Nepo does sometimes play the move c4 this year. So, the guy says, honored, you're welcome. g3, bishop g2. Like, Nepo likes to play this sort of like neo-Catalan, where you're not playing d4, but you get some extra options from not playing this. Like, for example, if they take the pawn, you can go queen a4, and you end up getting the pawn back right away with the fork. Whereas in the Catalan, that usually doesn't work quite as well. And you also get options like b3 and going for a double fianchetto. But here also you can just transpose back to a Catalan where probably the queenside fianchetto wasn't the best move order for black. You should have maybe gone bishop e7 castles instead and then maybe thought about doing this at a later stage. So I exchange because if he takes for the pawn, his bishop is bad. But if he takes for a piece and I get an e4 eventually, and I just get a massive space advantage for free. And the bishop's actually kind of useful on this open diagonal just in the long term. Even though it's not threatening at the moment, it's still some sort of a plus. So I'm going to go rook d1. If c5 I can maybe take or even just keep it there. Because if he takes, I can always get my bishop out. Let's go e4. Now I'm ready to meet c5 with d5. So black's not in time to effectively challenge my center, as it were. So at this point, I mean, what will black do next? Maybe a6, but such a slow passive move here. It's really not... It's hard to give good advice for black here, to be quite frank. And I'll go rook c1 or something. Just make sure my piece is developed. Queen e2. Get out of the way of his rook on the file. And kind of play it by ear from there. So e5 is kind of a move that, yeah, it might look weakening to give d5 to black. But when he can't put a knight there, it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, yeah, c5 is a little bit tricky, actually, because he could stop me playing d5 because it's bishop c3. And yeah, those have been annoying. But okay, now, I mean, I can maybe try to use my lead in development somehow. Like, knight g5 is actually a really interesting idea. Because then I'm threatening mate, I'm also threatening this, which is probably... Maybe I could have done it earlier. I could have done it here, actually. I didn't even see it at this point. Because he's just developing automatically. And yeah, he just blunders mate. Queen h7. He had to go g6 there to try to survive. But anyway, let's play another game before the server restarts on me. It doesn't really finish the stream about like 3 o'clock my time anyway. But anyway, let's continue. Play another, hopefully, knight off in the Pomnishi style. I mean, I really like the knight off. I don't know why I didn't play it more often. I really think that if I had started playing the knight off, let's say, like, in my teenage years, I think I would have got to 2600. I think it really would have improved my performance quite a lot. But, you know, I guess, you know, we shouldn't live in regret too much, right? So, knight c6, I mean, you should go d4 and just transpose into a Sozin Sicilian. The bishop on c4. The thing is, if you don't play d4, you just have this position where, yeah, you're getting your pieces developed on the one hand, but what happens if you're not getting in some sort of pawn break, it's very hard for you to really get your rooks into the game, for example. And, I mean, black just has a very simple plan of, like, developing and, you know, pushing the queenside pawns, and if white doesn't do anything about this, then black actually has a more flexible pawn structure. That's why, like, you see a lot of games at lower levels where, while we'll kind of play these quiet developing moves, and then suddenly, by move 15, just end up in a worse position, and they're kind of like, well, okay, I didn't do anything kind of obviously dumb, I put my normal squares and I'm starting just worse, like, how is that possible? That's because of the flexibility of the structure with having black having to play the move pawn c5. I mean, you haven't blocked the c pawn with the knight the way white has, so if white doesn't have a way to kind of use this development dynamically, black is just going to have an advantage based on the pawn structure. It's something I didn't even really appreciate myself until recently, but it's kind of a really the reason why the Sicilian kind of works in a sense. Okay, just trading the bishops. I mean, the idea of playing f4, f5 is not a bad one, except that in this version I have to trick knight e4, and I use the fact that the knight's undefended. So what he wants to do is he should have moved the knight back this way instead. It's good I didn't play b5 yet, otherwise he could have taken my knight, but now I'm just a pawn up for nothing, and okay, he blunders the queen. Dato Gegachikori. That sounds like some sort of food, like some kind of, you know, cheesy bread or something. I'm probably completely wrong on that, but that's just my guess that, you know, he's talking about some food. Well, it has an avatar of a lion, so maybe it's like Georgia for, like, you know, mountain lion or something. Anyway, I don't know anyone, like, from Georgia here watching the stream to, you know, tell me how completely wrong my translation is. I think it's like, there's some game like that, I think, where it was some very famous magazine. I can't remember which one it was now, but it was some British magazine that had some competition where your aim was to, basically the aim was able to come up with some word, and you had to try to share some very obscure word, and you had to try to come up with some meaning that wasn't like the actual meaning of the word, but the one that sort of sounded like the most kind of like it could be the meaning. So it's kind of like, reminds me of a game that some poker players like to play, like on the side, like just for fun. But what they do is they kind of bet on not what the correct answer to a question is, but what the most other people think the correct answer to the question is. So what the actual answer is actually doesn't matter at all. It just matters what other people think is the answer. And, you know, the more people, then, like, the better it is. So basically that's the idea, like, you say what you think the most common answer that other people say to the question will be. The other person gives their answer, and whoever more people say, they kind of, you know, that person ends up getting, like, winning the bet. Not necessarily encourage betting per se, of course, but yeah, it's sort of a funny example. I'm going to play rook g1 again. Okay, h5 is kind of a weird move, but okay, he does want to try and stop, like, g4. The thing is, now I can just develop normally here, like bishop c4, and I mean, rook g1 is still a lot less harmful than h5 is in this structure, because now, like, castling is always going to leave a bit of an open gash. And with a4, I'm just going to not let him get in a b5 and get counterplay on this side of the board. The only thing about this is, it doesn't mean my king is stuck in the center, but maybe I can just tuck it away on a square like f1, and I mean, I'm not really sure what black is kind of doing in the meantime, because the field door is a little bit of a passive opening, admittedly. He's going for this with d5, trying to get the piece back, but I feel like after d5 or knight e5, my position will be pretty good there. So an interesting question how to play it. I could also just play bishop b3 just to keep my bishop. Yeah, I'm going to play bishop b3. I think I have a good bishop here. I can go knight e5 up, but I just realized he has queen a5 and he wins a pawn. That's super annoying. I probably still have compensation just because I do have a nice lead in development, but it definitely is not the most convincing. I'll castle long and hope I have some bishop f4 or bishop d4 business here. It's been a bit of a while since we had a comment. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, we had so many comments before, and now it's like been half an hour without them. But, 60 comments is still definitely a record. Still very happy about that. But I guess the way it goes, like, with these streams, you have, like, periods where, like, you have, like, lots of people commenting, like, several comments a minute. And then you have times, like, nobody comments, like, for ages as such, just depending on, who is watching, how many people are watching, and all that sort of thing. But okay, he's wanting to try to keep his extra pawn, but in the process, he's also giving himself these doubled e-pawns. And I am going to be able to take that e-pawn at some point. Just thinking what the best move order will be to kind of go about this. I think I would take, even though it gets his bishop more active, because it also means I can play rook e1 without him being able to take my pawn. So okay, he's doing it like this. Maybe I just want to keep my bishops on the board. Maybe bishop c5, but he goes b6 all the time. So, thinking about this, because rook e1, he might go rook d8, but not have bishop to a7. That's not so bad. Let's do that. I mean, he can go rook a8 back again. It's not ideal, but I think it's okay for me. I go like bishop c5, rook a4, rook d6, and, attack his pawn. Because like, he has the extra pawn, but his pawns are also quite weak because of their being split like this. Whereas my pawns, for the most part, are pretty healthy. The one idea he could go for is he could play king f7 and then play rook d8 if I take it. And then actually the pin is very annoying. But e5 is kind of a weird move. Maybe, oh, he can castle long. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. I just blundered a piece like a moron. Should have just moved the bishop. What the hell am I doing in this game? What the freaking hell am I doing? It's completely stupid. Completely stupid to do this. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how it's possible to play so stupid a game of chess. Freaking joke. Okay, now I don't even see rook e2. How do you miss such simple moves? How is it possible to be such a bad chess player at this? Ridiculous. And I'll just help his king get more active though. Frankly, I'm completely dead lost anyway. So annoying. How? Complete freaking joke. Okay, king here, I mean, I've got nothing here. I'm completely dead lost. Can't believe, this guy's, such an arrogant prick as well, saying, I'm a cheater. I mean, he can go screw himself, quite frankly. He thinks that. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous this guy can ever beat me. So angry. He gets that bishop g5 and just wins. But I have king b2. This actually was a little bit of a trap I set, kind of unintentionally. Now I might actually not be losing anymore, because I have, hg7, and, his best bet might actually be to give up the rook, but then, when you give up the rook, I mean, I only am down, a pawn. Yeah, he's going for this. Oh, what's his idea? He wants to try and give some check. Okay, I has bishop f6, he still stops me queening. Oh my god, he's so lucky. He is so lucky to have that when he just blundered this. Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me. Completely absurd. Okay, I think I got to go rook c8 first and then do this. I mean, it's still completely lost, but what else am I going to do now? I'll go king here. I'll just try to trade off as many pawns as I can at this point. That's all I can really hope for. But he's got, even the right bishop here, so just completely have nothing. All I can really hope is he just puts a piece on pre or something like this. I could have played rook d7, but okay, let's just play this and hope that his technique is really, really bad. You can always hope for a miracle, I guess, but I doubt it's going to happen. Yeah, just have absolutely nothing. Ugh. So terrible. I mean, if I were able to take his pawn, it would actually be a draw in that case, because rook and bishop versus rook is a theoretical draw in a normal position, and of course I blunder this like an idiot. Complete freaking joke. How do you lose this freaking idiot? What a complete stupid play. A freaking joke. Just blunder a piece like a moron. I forget that castling is legal. How do you forget that castling is legal? How freaking stupid do you have to be to forget that fucking castling is fucking legal? You've got to be f***ing with me right now. Complete fucking joke. Okay, so now he's played the crappy Chigorin defense. I just go knight c3 and I'm just better. Yeah, you have to go e5 and bishop b4. This is just complete rubbish. I'm just going to kill the guy. I'm just going to finish him off. There's a murder on the chessboard, guys. You know, guy pissed me off by beating me. Absolutely ridiculous. The thing, like, you guys trying to psych me out by saying I cheat every game. I mean, I've never met such a prick in my life, quite frankly. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, I can't even appreciate good chess gets a win against me by saying this cheap, dirty trick. That's all he is. He's only good for cheap tricks, nothing else. That's why he's only rated like 2,500 and doesn't have a title yet. Okay, knight b5. Let's attack here. I just don't care anymore. I'm going to take the pawn. I think it's a safe pawn to grab. Because rook a2, I've got knight c7, I think. I think I can do this. It's not even winning a pawn. He has rook b2. Wow, I'm like playing a 1600. I'm still not winning. That's crazy. But I do have a passed pawn at least. That does give me some potential. And I'm still really angry about that game I played before. I was so angry. Like, the guy, like, he got so many draws against me and then he gets a win as well. Like, absolutely. It's not rated. That's the one positive thing. But, man, it got really angry at that person. Like, I mean, like, if he was, like, you know, just, like, playing, like, not sort of, like, trash talking and saying dumb, then it would be another story. But the fact that the guy's, like, a keeper and still manages to beat me is completely absurd. Okay, so we get the same opponent again. Let's play French. Because actually Nepo played the French as his main opening when he was a junior. So, you know, I think it'd be fun to go back to his junior days. Actually, he did play the French a bit in like 2020 as well. Like he played in the candidates in some games. Because that was how he qualified for the World Championship match against Magnus Carlsen that's happening in late November and December. It said, Warren says, hi, Charlie Sato shared. Thought I'd have a look. Yeah, actually, I didn't realize that he'd shared. I'm really grateful to Charlie for sharing. Or actually, maybe I did see he shared before, I just didn't notice it. But yeah, definitely really great to have more people on the stream watching. And yeah, no, actually, I do follow Charlie's channel as well, actually. I like to support the other streamers, as it were. I mean, I haven't like donated to his stream. Actually, Charlie donated to my stream before, you know, I donated to his. But, you know, at some point, I guess I should return the favor, right? It's a nice thing to do. I can go knight g6. I can attack this. I think that'll be good. The thing is, like, I noticed, like, with, when I was looking at how many followers Chess is gaining on Facebook, I think the growth rate is something like, I believe, about 100 followers a day, which might not sound like a lot, but, like, if you add that up, that's, like, 36,500, 36,500 new followers. Like, it means you'll get to, like, 100,000 within that. And that's not even taking out the fact that the growth is kind of, like, it sort of increases, like, it's, I guess, parabolic is the word I'm looking for. Meaning that the more it grows, the more it's going to grow in the future. So I do think that actually we can get to like 100k followers of chess on Facebook gaming. I think probably even the next 6 months if we play our cards right. I really hope that my stream, being a Grandmaster, will really help to expedite that process significantly. So anyway, let's take. So yeah, as Carl said, yeah, I'm still live. So thanks, really appreciate you sending a love. Definitely feeling loved at the moment, that's for sure. Okay, so he goes knight h4. He's trying to trade some stuff. Okay, I didn't mean to play knight e4, 7. That was a mouse slip. The funny is, it's actually quite a decent move in this position because now I can take, meaning queen h3 of queen a2. And if he takes a rook, I now have a nice little tactic that you might want to try and find. Maybe you can say in the comments the move that black should play in this position. So the answer is the move bishop b5. That just wins the exchange like that because of the skewer. Actually, it's a skewer to the other way around. Like if it was a queen and a rook, then it would be a skewer. Because the skewer is when you have like a less valuable piece behind a more valuable piece in the line of fire. I sometimes get mixed up with that. I guess good even Grandmasters can occasionally mix up their advanced tactical motifs. So anyway, so let's see how we are doing. Stream too much. Oh yeah, I'm reading like the notes. Okay. So, yeah, to resign, let's play another game. It might be the same opponent. I actually didn't check what my rank was on the leaderboard. Maybe one of you guys saw it. Okay, I'll go D4, maybe Queen's Gambit again. Been playing a lot of the Queen's Gambit lately, and not just because of, the Queen's Gambit by Harmon and, for Netflix. Actually, let me know in the comments, like, have you actually watched Queen's Gambit? Because if you guys have watched it, then maybe I can actually talk a little bit about the show, and maybe, we can talk about, like, how realistic the chess was, and maybe not try to give away any big spoilers for those who haven't watched it, but still could be kind of interesting. I mean, it's definitely, like, a really cool show for sure, and Beth really played, like, the role very well. It was very realistic and very genuine. Like, you really felt like you were a part of her journey and for, like, dealing with her inner demons and all this sort of thing. If I say too much, I'm probably going to big spoilers and maybe annoy some people, so I think I'm just going to leave it at that. But yeah, if you have Netflix, definitely watch it. It's well worth the watch if you haven't already. I mean, maybe some of you might actually, like, let me know in the comments, like, do you start playing chess because of the Queen's Gambit? Like, are you one of the, like, let's say, Queen's Gambit boomers, like, that you started playing chess because you saw it and you wanted to see what all the fuss was about after watching the show? Because I know, like, that a lot of these, like, people who, like, are making a really great living out of chess at the moment, the guys like, I guess the best example is probably, like, Gotham Chess is probably the one who really benefited the most from the Queen's Gambit boom, because I think before the Queen's Gambit was released on Netflix, he had something like maybe 200 subscribers on YouTube for chess, and it's still a very good number, of course, but then with the Queen's Gambit boom, he really capitalized on it, and now he has, like, 1.2 million followers or something around this range. So, yeah, I guess maybe you were a part of that journey as well, in a way. So, I think Eric Rosen was another who really benefited greatly. I mean, to be fair, like, all the chess room really benefited greatly from the boom, but these ones I think had the biggest sort of jump or biggest surge in their growth, as it were. So, anyway, I mean, you can see now I just have total domination of the position. Of course, I said I had blunder in exchange, which is kind of sad. Fortunately, I'm probably still better anyway, because Rook's all his pieces are so bad when he doesn't have a pawn break. Okay, now that he didn't see this move, I'm pretty sure this is strategically winning. I'm just going to kick his knight back, put my own knight in, and, White is just completely dominating here. E4. I'm going to play knight e5 next move, I think. Just take that semi-outpost. It's a semi-outpost because technically he can kick it away with f6 if he moves the knight out of the way. But then he's also weakening his king quite a bit, and you can see his structure is just completely degrading. If I'm hitting this knight, I'm hitting the pawn with the discovered attack, and once I get rid of that pawn, I can also play moves like bishop e4 and try to mate him on the light squares, so the guy just resigns. Oh, I'm number 3. I'm number 3 on the Elite League. We did a lot of grinding. Actually, most of the grinding wasn't even on the stream. It was actually 5 hours of grinding before this stream, like when I woke up at 3 in the morning. But yeah, I think that might be... I was thinking of making it up, but I'm going to play a couple more games. Let's say I play, we're 2 hours, 40 minutes, so maybe play like a maximum 5 more games probably. And once I played 5 more, or when I just feel like stopping, I'll stop then. But let's just play a few more. Because it might give you guys, like, let's say if you maybe have been trying to challenge me, it hasn't been working, it'll give you a chance maybe to send through a challenge and, we can perhaps play a game. Because I don't want to try to prioritize playing against people who are, who are actually, like, following the stream, who are, commenting all this sort of thing. Because your engagement does really make a big difference in terms of how many people actually see the stream and just how it is as well, in a way. Like, the more people that kind of see it, the more we can kind of have, different conversations and just talk chess and just enjoy chess. So I'm going to go bishop d3. I mean, g4 might look a bit weakening, but I haven't castled the king yet. I can still potentially castle the other side of the board if I want to. So that makes g4 a bit less committal in that sense. Now, queen 2 doesn't just hit the pawn, but it also prepares e5. I'm going to take him on passant. And I could either go e5 and play for the initiative, or I can just grab a pawn. I think I'm just going to grab the pawn, however. Maybe I'll go like rook d1. I can think of knight b5 and hit this guy. Do a fork on the pawn and on this. And actually, now I have a nice trick. I can actually ignore the attack on the bishop, and I can play knight b5 anyway, because I have a family fork, also known as a royal fork, after queen a6, knight c7. If he goes queen b8, I just take d6 with the knight, and I'm just completely crashing through there. And I'm checking your comments. Like, I don't really check the comments as often if, like, no commenting. There's quite a few of you commenting, and I do, like, sort of check it a bit more often as such. Like, and now he just blunders the queen, so he's probably going to resign. Or not. But yeah, that's what, like, the thing. Like, the more you comment, the more I'm basically going to check the comments, and the more I'll kind of engage with you in that sense, if that makes sense. So I'll knight f4, maybe queen b5, just go for mates. Because, I mean, it's not like he has that many defenders, and he has a queen down after all. Yeah, let's play another one. Maybe number 2 on the leaderboard. I've got what number 2, how many points they have, but I think it was something like nearly 2,000 points, but not quite. But they're probably up to 2,000, like, trophies by now. In case you're not sure, like, how the league system works, basically the idea is that you get, you basically get trophies for each game you win. So, like, for each blitz game I win, I get 9 trophies total. And if I drew a blitz game, I would get 3 trophies. If I lose, I get 0 trophies. So basically, aiming just to get as many trophies as possible, essentially. That's the name of the game. That's what we come here for. Although nothing as well, like, people like strings like that sort of thing, like not like a literal soundboard, but kind of like, let's say, these 20 or so phrases typically say the kind of they say and other streamers usually don't say. It'd be kind of interesting to see what my most common ones are, because the ones I sort of say, like, I can't just say it without thinking in a way. So maybe you guys can let me know, like, what are the things that I say most often. I guess like, probably the most common thing probably would be something like me sort of like saying the censored F word or something. But yeah, it shows how much I care about chess, like how competitive I am, that when I have a very big loss, I start swearing. Not that I would recommend it, so probably you shouldn't do it in general, but, you know, sometimes bad habits die hard. And while the joke said I'm not perfect either. So rook b8, okay, I'll meet rook c1 with what, bishop d7 or something, just defend the pawn. That seems natural enough. Because that's like my only real weakness is sort of these guys over here. Everything else about my position is pretty good. So queen a5, I might go h5. As I might look for the king in case, you know, he gets a rook to the back rank somehow. Okay, he's going on this weird wild goose chase with his queen. Maybe he wants to go queen d6 and trade the queens, but then I'm kind of just up like 2 pawns, and I'm also now got h3 and I'm leaving open his king. Like, very often in positions where it's like quiet, not a great deal is happening, it's often a good idea to charge the h-pawn and just kind of create some attacking chances, because you can see how much his king has been ripped open by the fact I pushed that h-pawn and lured that g-pawn away from the defense. Now, I want to go rook e6, but he's going to go queen d8 and hit my bishop, but I can actually ignore that, because the point is that if he takes, I've got the move rook g6 at the end, and I would win the queen, which is a point that I wouldn't have come to me otherwise, but somehow I mentioned a move like, say, why you shouldn't play it, then I realized, oh, you can play it, actually. Kind of actually a good example, like, how to think about. Sometimes you should just, like, not jump to an assumption automatically, but you should check out, is that assumption actually true? Like, am I actually going to run into problems if I allow this, or can I just allow his supposed threat anyway? I made a lot of blunders this game, so I played very badly, but whatever. I've been playing for a long time as well, like, I haven't just been playing, like, for the 3 hours of this stream. I play, like, 5 hours in the morning. So, like, at some point, you know, you get some kind of, you know, decision fatigue. Like, if you make too many decisions, like, at some point, your brain just starts making much worse decisions. In general, like, it's one reason why some people, not necessarily me, but why some people recommend, like, getting up early and getting, like, the most important tasks done early in the day. Because it's kind of like you're not sort of fatigued, like, your brain is still fresh and, like, still going to make good decisions. Whereas for most people, like, probably doesn't apply as much for me because I'm a bit more of a night owl. But, like, at least, like, the idea is that if, let's say, you made a lot of decisions earlier in the day and it's sort of, like, late at night, you're probably not going to make as objective a decision, you know, if, you know, at that time compared to if you made it early in the day when your brain is more alert in a sense. But, I mean, it actually is, like, most Grandmasters actually likes, most Grandmasters are actually, like, night owls, where they just stay up really late and, you know, like, I guess just because I get brain so hyperactive. At least it's true for me, like, my brain is very, very hyperactive. Not exactly going to make a secret of that. Actually, now knight b6, I'm also threatening b4, and his knight just kind of runs out of places to go, because I covered a4 with my horsey. It reminds me, actually, of something, like, I remember when I was a kid, like, I was reading this book called Everyone's Second Chess Book by Dan Heisman. And one of my favorite parts of that book was something actually like nothing to do with chess improvement, even though the book was basically about how to improve like at the like beginner level, not like total beginner, but like let's say beginner that's played some games but it's not like, you know, big tournaments yet. So there's like this thing where, you know, you mentioned about how a lot of kids like they don't really try to checkmate when they start playing. They just try to like take one of the opponent's pieces and, you know, instead of saying like capture or take, they like say kill. where it's like, oh, I killed his horsey. And like, so every time I just kind of like laugh, like, so, it's like so cute and like so funny at the same time. Like, I killed his horsey. Oh man, just brilliant. Anyway, so here's the nice thing about the Night Elf is I'm already saying to spit everywhere, like Eminem on one of his diss tracks. But anyway, yours Slim Shady. But yeah, basically, like, there's one thing nice about the Night Elf is that, you know, if they play like the ED5, then what happens is sometimes that pawn just can easily be attacked in different ways. So yeah, I'm just up a pawn for nothing. My king is open in the center, but if I can put my pawn on D5, there's not a lot he can really do about it. My center is just a bit too strong to deal with. The problem is very cumbersome maneuver is that A, it doesn't really do anything, and B, if he moves the queen, I have knight E3 and I walk the rooks like that. So he probably has to play F4 and sack a second pawn, but I just take it. I mean, the open files are all controlled by me and all just blocked by me. And I'm getting the last dregs out orange juice out of here. Man, that's some good orange juice. If I drink it too quick, I get a bit of a headache. So I have to be a little careful about that. And I've got a lot of threats. I can take, go bishop f5, go bishop here. So of course he tries to play a counter threat, but I can still do all the same good stuff. Maybe not bishop c4 anymore, but okay. This is probably to give up the exchange and try to open me up while my king is in the center. But okay, I could even play like, I could even just castle in fact in this position and just say, well, my king is going to be safe enough and I'm up material. I mean, yeah, you can try to take one of my pawns at some point, but it's not going to overly alter the status quo of me being up a whole lot of material. So g3, let's take. Let's go queen f6 after that, bring my rook in some way. Not immediately because his queen is covering it, but I'm going to kind of prepare it. And I was hoping there would be somebody who exploits weak back rank, but it's not that obvious. So let's just, you know, trade off his good bishop and let him lose on time. Queen f1 and all the good stuff. Okay, let's play another one. Yeah, we're doing alright for time. Probably play like, I don't know, 3-4 more games. Depends really on how long the games go. Like, if the games are 6 minutes, we're probably talking like 2 more games. If they're less, maybe 3 more games. And if like one plays like resigns on move 2, then maybe 4 more games. I played this guy a few times before. He likes to give away all his pawns. Like, you're going to see what I mean. Like, he goes d5, and he plays like c6, but he doesn't take, like, he just throws away all the pawns. Like, oh, these pawns are just getting in the way. Let's, you know, what could they ever do for me? Okay, I can take. I can go bishop b5. I think I did this against him once before. Like, it'd be kind of funny if you just say, oh, queen d4, I'm not even going to take back your pawns. You can have all... See, like, actually, it's funny. He actually does that. But yeah, queen... I mean, he's trying to hack me, but if I just go knight king g1, I really don't see, like, what his idea is. Like, queen d4, I just go knight d3, and I defend the knight, and I defend this square, and, you know, now he's just a piece down for nothing. So yeah, kind of weird, to be honest. So now he also lost the right to castle, so whatever you can do, I can do better. Let's have queen h4 though. Maybe I should have gone queen f3 instead. Because now he's got some tricks. Homeboy here has got some tricks. Okay, g3. Let's cover him. Actually, g3 is really, really... Because problem is takes, he just goes here, and then he has queen g2, which I didn't see. Queen f1, queen 4 actually is what I missed. So unfortunately, I've completely thrown away the advantage. Might not completely, but I've definitely thrown away a large portion of it. It's kind of annoying, like, when they do this and, like, their completely stupid play somehow managed to be justified. Just frustrating. And after the repetition, I'd probably have to play, like, just this and just let him take the knight. I mean, I'm still a piece up. Well, actually, no, I'm not. I'm extremely... Wow, that's crazy. Like, the guy, like, literally, like, just throws away all of his pieces and then he could actually have a winning position again. Like, that's a sign I should stop playing very soon. That at 1580, who is literally trying to lose all his pieces, can get a material advantage against me. And instead, he'll also get made into... That's club player chess for you. Yeah, 2 blunders are absolutely disgusting. The blunder is such a opening. Okay, we have a 1000 rated player. Let's go e5. Knight c6, knight f6, just develop normally. It's one reason why it's good to play e4, e5 if you're a beginner, because it's very easy to kind of put your piece on the same squares, like bishop c5, d6 castles. And like this plan, like a d4 pawn if he plays d4, is like pretty easy to understand. Like you don't need to be a Grandmaster to kind of understand what black is aiming for, that we're focusing fire on e4. And we want to open up the position because his king is in the center and we want to use our lean development. Just very sort of basic principles, what Elon Musk would call first principles. And by you mastering the first principle, it just makes it much easier for you to understand other openings when you get more advanced and like start playing more, maybe like more Hype-1 style systems like Sicilian or other stuff. Then like it's just going to be a lot easier if you already have that background understanding of how to play like this very classical e4, e5 system. Now I've got to be a little bit careful because my king is in the center and this is an idea. So I'm going to play knight d6, so I'm going to give back the pawn because it's a double pawn anyway. But in return, I'm also going to at least be able to, coordinate my pieces. I can get my rook in the game with h5 maybe. My only problem really is my king. Like once I get my king to a decent square and my rook in the game, I am going to be somewhat better. It's very tempting to go knight c4 and just get rid of his bishop pair, but I don't want to let his rook in yet. So I'm going to start with f6 and prepare h5. The reason I do it this way is because I didn't want to let him get in g5 and just completely freeze my pieces. Now, to be fair, I should probably play g5 anyway, but now the difference is I can at least take, maybe go h4, and I can try to get that pawn moving down the board. So let's take. Except maybe I'm actually going to play king g8 instead. And the reasoning is I want to kind of keep my king safe, because there are still a lot of pieces on the board that can hurt me. And actually it's a good example, because it's allowed rook e7 like an idiot. And now like c4, and this is a big threat. And I don't know what to do about it. Maybe I have to go, like, knight c4 has bishop b3 and it's pinned. Like, king j was incredibly stupid move by me. Now I have to, like, be down a pawn, basically. I'm kind of lucky that I still probably have some kind of compensation, but man, this is really bad. Really bad play on my part. Thought I blundered a piece, but I don't think I did. But if he goes, like, rook c6, I mean, he is just probably better somehow. Although that being said, his bishops are kind of a little bit lacking in coordination, so I still have some practical chances. Yeah, I was hoping he would. I thought it was a blunder, but he has rook a7 and I just have nothing. Well, he just blunders a rook instead. That's kind of weird. A7 would have been better. Okay, so I really should not play much more. I'll make this game the last game. Again, those who are watching the replay on YouTube, if you got this far, well, congratulations. You can put in the comments below, I made it to this point where Max said you have made it to the end of this video, or very close to the end anyway. Okay, one more game. Maybe I play a bullet game in between because not getting a blitz game for some weird reason. And also the server is starting in like 8 minutes. Maybe that's the other reason why I'm not getting much of a game, because they're worried that if they start a game it won't finish. Okay, 1 minute game, play fast. Play fast, not slow. Just play in the center. Bishop d3, castle rook e1, bishop g5. And you can sort of see he's not really developing properly. He's going to castle long probably, but I'll just go a4, a5, hack his king. It's sort of a typical pawn sack in bullet. You just kind of open up like this, throw a piece at the king, keep the tension. And I mean, I could even have taken this pawn, which would have been a lot better. But I'll take the second opportunity to do so. g5, like knight e6 or something. Just put the knight in his face. d5, c4, all the good stuff. Actually, d5 is kind of an annoying pin for him. So let's do that. It also helps that I'm defending this way, and your h3 I always have g3 to keep things safe. And it is weird queen sack, maybe an anti-pre-move or something. But I'm not going to fall for it. d6 actually is... Why am I allowing him to take with check? That was dumb. Luckily, I'm still winning anyway. Because if he takes here, I get some sort of checkmate if he takes me. Okay, I checkmate him this way instead. Okay, that was a little bit of a game that raised my heart rate a little bit. Let's play one more game. Come on. Surely someone wants to play a Grandmaster in Blitz, so I'm not just talking to myself here. Yes, we got a game. Okay, against 270 guy from Egypt. Or from Syria, I should say, not Egypt. I get confused with the flags. Okay, d6, especially when they're quite small. Let's go bishop d7. Let's do a bit of redemption, because I think I had a game where I played queen d7 and I lost like a complete beginner. So let's turn around and win this one instead. e6. Take d5, knight e4. Because e d5, I mean, is just very nice position against his IQP, but this is pretty good too. I go like bishop b4. Use the pin on knight and just have a very comfortable position, I think. Okay, this... Oh, wait. He has knight... Oh my god, it's blundered a pawn like a beginner. You've got to be kidding me. I mean, I'm lucky that I still have a little bit of compensation because his pawn is weak, but... Man, that is so bad. How can I play so fucking stupid? Oh my god, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But now, like, the ending gives me decent comp. Because I can go after this pawn. Man, like, I'm so lucky that I'm not just, like, dead lost, in fact. Man, it's just... How do you play so terrible? How is it possible to play such bad chess? I mean, I guess when you played 8 hours, maybe it's possible, but I still, like, I was playing well before this. Or maybe I was playing badly and hadn't realized my opponents were playing worse. So h5, let's fix this in place. And we can try to do some maneuver like this. Rook b5. Attack this pawn is my thinking. And yeah, I mean, I might put the king. It's in question where to put the king. Maybe I should just castle. Just castle, attack this guy. Bishop e7, this sort of thing. And the problem I've really just like gone like to just one move at attacking ideas because my brain is too fried to think of anything else at this point. Okay, he's going bishop h6 for some weird reason. Because now knight d2, I just take his pawn. This is why he should have just played knight d2 immediately. By throwing in this extra attacking move, he actually just made my position way, way better. So now the tables turn a bit. Oh, he has rook a7. But I have bishop h4. I'm safe. I'm still safe. I'm going to take, and I'm going to be up a pawn. Thank you very much, sir. Bishop b7. I can kick his bishop. Oh, I can win his bishop. Well, that's nice. I'm just winning now. Okay, I think that the fact that I played so terribly in blunder pawn opening is probably a sign that I should finish the stream at this point. So, anyway, the stream broke so many records. We had how many donations of stars? I think we had like about 500-ish stars for this stream. So, that's the most I ever had by far. That's a cool $5, I think, or maybe it's like $6. Actually, I kind of lost count at some point. But yeah, $5 for a stream, I'll take it, given that I was going to play all these games and, you know, get on the high on the leaderboard for the Elite League anyway. And based on after this, actually, I'm now in position to actually potentially qualify for the Champions League starting in a bit over a week, or a bit under a week, assuming I qualify for it. So yeah, that's pretty much like what I'll sign off with. Glad that you guys enjoyed the stream. Thank you so much for all the comments. Also, thank you for all the shares. I mean, we had 14 shares. Like, that's a absolute record. Just really, really happy about that so many people shared the stream to make sure we can have a steady flow, like a pretty, like for most of the stream, we actually had like more than 5 viewers, like around like the 7 viewers, and we even had as high as 17, another record. So yeah, just records, and really glad you could be a part of the history here. So I will see you guys on the next stream. I forget when the exact date is I have scheduled, but you can check my stream schedule. Just click on my Facebook gaming page link in the description, where you can also follow my page if you haven't already. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next stream. Thanks again for your great support, and I'll see you around.